Looking for a second already.
Just once they find open space. So Richmond's pressure in tight has been great, but once Brisbane can access their shape in open field, they're pretty hard to stop.
4 minutes remaining in this opening term. A fifth Brisbane Lions goal. Oh, it's the angle's all wrong there as he juts out to the right. Mutters away as Boston prepares to bring it in. Same path as last time. No, he handballs at the last moment to Short, who wasn't particularly balanced as he kicked, so it went upward. Fisted back to McCluggage, so spring straight back. Morris off the side of the boot. Safe hands from Smith on this occasion. Tigers look to possess it and find a way out. Good depth for Banks. From the ground kick, who can look the hand pass to Broad, to Floston. He can go wider still to Green, but no, he wants to cut the angles. If it was meant for Lawler, he didn't realise it. Now he wants a piece of the action. Fantastic pick-up again from Blight. Deals it out to Green, who cuts the kick in to Campbell. So creative.
See, the big man, Jacob Blight's been good.
Yes.
Been super impressed. We've seen a terrific intercept mark. We've seen a mark running with the flight against Harris Andrews. He then picks up a ground ball. Doing it all.
So Seth is going to go around the corner. Might have made that more complicated than it needed to be, but it sneaks in. He has that goal mouse.
I understand, and that was a great finish, but I understand the logic of how difficult it is for a young player to go from back to second ruck. It's just, and even for a young team to get the logistics of it right.
Yeah, I think it was as much as what he then, how that affected all the others.
Well, yeah, it does, but it can be done. If you've got an experience, I would say Sam McConey on last night was able to go in second ruck, but they're an experienced team that can get that done. With the young team, you want them just to be able to focus on playing the game. You don't want to make it any more difficult than it needs to be.
So he's in game number 7, Jacob Blight, and he's gone from key defence, first game of the season. Now he's been second ruck. Now he's playing key forward again. They're being asked a lot, and he's answering.
Mid-season recruit, 23-year-old is Jacob Blight. Campbell kicks his first of the afternoon. McCluggage to Rayner, to Levi Ashcroft, and Berry towards the square. Day, not far off there. Curvis, little handball leaked out. Tresize gets them running. This is Taranto, gets to a better space, and then a bounce to go with it. Little chip for Ross. Possession 5.
Normally when that press comes, it can make you a little bit anxious. You're sort of forced to dispose it before you're ready, but that was a good little touch over the top to Ross.
Back again to Hopper. Eyes darting, and he goes for a long kick.
Great.
Oh, it was a good kick to McIntosh. Backed out of the sunshine into the shade. Molly Irons hot. See if they can strike. Didn't really go to the favour of Lynch. Andrews saw it first, and that renowned fist employed again. Ross, the handball was good. The fumble won't help Tresize. Feeds it back to Trainer, whose immediate thought was to go back another 35 metres to safety to Miller. Making the path to goal a little more thorny and certainly longer to Short. Not sure why that was played on. It went every 20 metres. Taranto bangs it to Lynch again. The sun might have been a factor. And then Curvis with all his heft. Answorth really had to try and jump on board there, didn't he, to affect the tackle. A minute 15. A late goal would be so precious for the Tigers in this quarter. McIntosh sends it end on end. The bounce. Blight. Engulfed in the tackle. And they have a ball up.
Yeah, they're starting to get a little bit of field position themselves, and they've done so by being able to take a mark in their defensive mid and spread the Brisbane defence. And they found some gaps.
Where's the Tiger threat going to be? Taranto, yes! A couple in a row for the Tigers. Precious late goals.
It's precious Hutto, based on pressure. They were able to keep the ball in their forward 50, keep repeat stoppages, and it was, I think it was McInerney that just tried to get his own clearance. Didn't get enough boot on the ball when they had numbers around it. It's really good. Taranto started well. He's had 9 possessions in the first 10. Now he gets a goal to his name, so he gets the loose ball, doesn't get enough boot on it. They've got a couple on the defensive side. Taranto able to snap truly.
Taranto 9 disposals in this opening term and a goal.
Well, they've kicked 2 of their goals from stoppage and 1 from the back half. So, I mean, they've been able to apply their pressure in general play for the most part. Brisbane have shown their class through the middle part of that quarter there, but what a great effort by Richmond at this point to be able to kick the last 2 goals and have the scoreboard looking the way it is.
Considering Brisbane have 19 inside 50s.
Yeah, they've held up well.
Taranto forward again. At a disadvantage was Campbell, who goes over the fence with Fletcher. For company as Adamuse would be very pleased with elements of this opening term.
Yeah, 3 goals, 1 from 7 entries is a great return for Richmond, and obviously 9 scores from 19 is something Brisbane would like to get better return from, but Richmond have been able to get back in number and win enough contests to hold that up.
Dunkley after the handoff. Morris with plenty of stiff opposition. He's done well to get himself back under the footy. Ashcroft eventually decides to kick it forward, away from Neil. Hopper. Foster. That is another rainmaker on a beautiful clear sky day at the MCG. Not a problem for Miller.
Good hands.
Takes the mark, sinks the boot into it. Long down the way. Was that a shove on Blight? It was. Is there advantage?
They've got to take it.
There is now. Armstrong deep to full forward. Lynch against 2. He's trying to play for a free kick.
Oh, he popped the bait too. I think it was salty for the hands.
He deserved it. There's a couple of poor decisions, but Archie that was sent behind the ball to take that mark and shore up for Brisbane.
In fact, Seth Campbell called for the handball.
He continues to argue the point. Don't think it's going to change anything. It's certainly not going to change the score, which favours Brisbane, who have won their first quarter of the year so far. But Richmond hanging in there with the last couple of goals of the term. The lead is 10, 4-5-29 to 3-1-19 on Super Saturday from the MCG.
All right, folks, there we go. It's quarter time here at the MCG where the Richmond Tigers are taking on the Brisbane Lions. And it's the Lions 4-5-29 leading the tenacious Tigers 3-1-19. The Tigers doing a fantastic job here staying in touch with the Brisbane Lions. Of course, the Lions came out pretty strong, up to about a 22-point lead roundabouts, and then the Tigers hit back with the next couple of goals. That's what we like to see, this young Tiger team. Ferocious, and well, who's it going to be, Tigers or Lions? Who's going to be the stronger team today? Don't forget, put in your poll vote. Of course, we've got 100% saying the Brisbane Lions at the moment, but you never know with this young Brisbane team. It's going to be this young Lions team, Lions Brisbane, my gosh, this young Tigers team, the Richmond Tigers team, could be interesting. All right, let's pop over. Well, let's have a look at the goal scorers so far in this game. And of course, 7 goals coming in the first quarter, all single goal scorers. There we go. For Richmond, we've got Tim Taranto, Steely Green and Seth Campbell for the Brisbane Lions. Logan Morris, Zach Bailey, Will Ashcroft, Callum Archie. Bless you, bless you. Hey, Dolphin, how you going? Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to see you again. Good to see you again. So that is your goal scorers up until quarter time. Let's just have a little bit of a look at the disposal count. Legendary. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome in. Who's everyone going for today? Richmond or the Brisbane Lions? I'll tell you what, look, I would expect Brisbane to win this game, but it wouldn't be surprising if the Tigers did something miraculous like they did against Carlton in the opening rounds. Tim Taranto, we've got 5 players, all on 10 touches each that lead the way. Of course, that's Tim Taranto on 10 for Richmond, Jacob Hopper on 10 for Richmond. The other 3, Lockie Neal, of course, Hugh McCluggage, Josh Dunkley from the Brisbane Lions, all on 10. So it's a pretty even type of game possession-wise out on the field today. Will Ashcroft there, he's had 8. He's not going too bad. 5 kicks, 3 handballs, 2 marks, a tackle, a clearance, and a goal. That's a good way to start for him. Jaden Short for the Tigers, he's had 7. Dane Zorko, he holds up the back line down there for the Brizzy Lions. He's on 6. All right, let's just roll down a little bit, see who else we can pick up for you. You'll be able to see your players on the way down as we're scrolling. Zach Bailey there, just the 4 there for Brisbane. Who else have we got? There we go. Luke Trainer, he's got 4 also for the Tigers. Toby Nankervis, the big ruckman there for the Tigers, just the 3 possessions, 2 kicks, 1 mark, 1 handball, 1 tackle. He's had 12 hit-outs in the first one. Just a quick question I go for Richmond. And unless we pull out the boost we did against Carlton, I think we'll probably lose. Statement I made. I mean, that's a good statement, but you know what? They're still in a learning process this season, and I think that's what was expected through Charlie Cameron there, just with the 2 touches. He's had a quiet one so far, quiet opening quarter. You know, that being said, I think Richmond are a bit of a young side. They lost a lot of experience last year. A lot of players going to different teams. So, you know, for at least what we saw, you know, what they did in Carlton, it's good things maybe to come for the Tigers. It's just trying to get their game plan worked out. Consistency is always the key for any side doing well, and trying to play 4 quarters. You know, so, I mean, they might play this first quarter good. They might drop off the next 2. They might play the last quarter good. We'll see what they do. But so far looking good. I think, I don't know whether many people would have had them only 10 points behind up until quarter time. So they're doing fantastic that way. Just running through the stats at quarter time just quickly, because we're going to head back down to the ground. The bounce of the ball is just about upon us, and the players still in the huddle. They're going to linger out to their positions in just a moment. There we go. So the Tigers, look at that. They're tackling beautifully. They're 20 up until quarter time. 52 is their season average. So it's good to see they're out there with a fight and they're bringing the pressure. No tackles inside 50, of course, yet, but still around the ground, they're doing very well. All right, there we go. All right, let's head back down to the ground, and they'll take us into the second quarter, where it's the Brisbane Lions by 10 points.
Coach's box, Sarah.
And Amuso, what was the focus for you then at quarter time?
Yeah, well, I spoke about the last 10 minutes. We got smashed at the start of the quarter. It was like 18 inside 50s to 3, so that's unsustainable. But our boys responded in the right way, and hopefully we can take that into the second quarter.
Jacob Light's been a wonderful presence aerially for you. You've been able to throw him around all sorts of positions. Have you worked out what his best one is yet?
Yeah, well, we need a second ruck, so he's doing what he can, and he's given us a contest, and that's all we can ask.
Good work. I'll let you get back up there.
Yeah, he has been good in that role, Jacob Blight, no doubt about it. But the pleasing thing, even though they only had 8 inside 50s, the Tigers, they've scored 4 times. So if you're operating at 50% in terms of converting your inside 50s into scores, that's above competition average. That's a good return.
Yeah,
they just need to get it down there more.
32 for a game. It's not going to make you as competitive as you want to be. But the last 10 minutes, as we discussed, really positive.
Let's see what the second quarter brings us then. The ruckman able to get a hand to the ball. There's a free kick, and because neither could get a hand to it, umpire deemed that Nankervis was doing the worst of the interfering. Free kick to McInerney. There was no one within Curry of the mark, but he kicks it long anyway to Morris. Nankervis had got back by then, and the backup from Trainer was good. Skids it out towards the boundary. Unfortunately, there's no representation, so you would think the umpire would say, no, maybe it was touched.
He actually stubbed his toe, so I mean, it was a bad disposal, but there was no intent at all. But is that insufficient intent?
I've seen kicks off the side of your boot, still called for insufficient. So very lucky to get away with it.
Brisbane's lead is 10. Hipwood playing as the deep forward at the moment. Hakaduni doing the ruck work. Taranto's had an excellent start to this game, and so is Lockie Neal. Ashcroft, Richmond fans might have thought he got some high contact applied there.
You mentioned Taranto, Hutto. He has been good. 10 possessions, couple of clearances and a goal. His opponent, Dunkley's had 11 possessions and 4 clearances, so it's been a good battle.
Bailey, ever dangerous inside that forward 50. The ball had a mind of its own. Broad Trust the left. That's a lot of green. He didn't have much height to compete against, but he did have the numbers. And it's Lockie Neal, so low to the ground, so effective, uses pain. Forward they come again, thrusting continuously, and Logan Morris, who is just learning on the job, but learning so quickly, takes the mark.
Good body work against an experienced opponent in Nathan Broad. Just held his strength, held his spot, and reached up high to take the mark. It's a really good contest mark, one-on-one. Good strength.
Storied round 8 debut, where, of course, we went to Macca's on the way, not realising he was going to be playing. He's so much so he's been nicknamed Mick Morris in amongst those at Brisbane. He's coming in now, though, and he's showing that he can play this game at a serious level. As he did in the grand final, he has 2 goals next to his name. And Brisbane back out to a 16-point lead.
It's a wonderful nod to the future, isn't it, when you're looking at this young man?
Well, I just love his demeanour. I think he looks like he belongs. He feels like he belongs. He shows a little bit of aggression when the time comes. He's got obvious talent. To go highest point and to jump freely at the contest as often as he does, he knows that he can take a great grab.
And I think they found a key forward at pick 31.
Yeah, and he just plays loose. He looks like he plays with creativity. There's low stress, which is a big asset to bring into this caper because there's enough around.
McInerney, 3 goes at it. Can't get McCluggage. Taranto just bearing down over the top.
That's exactly the way that the Lions would have wanted to have started too, to get a goal from one of their first couple of inside 50s, be a bit more efficient when they go forward.
Curtis crashing down, ball in hand. Neal and Bailey and Wilmot all collectively involved. It's a scroungy old kick, but it went to Fletcher, and nimble hands from Dunkley sets Ashcroft away. Will up to the hard-working Morris on the turn, delayed the kick, still got it right.
Oh, that's a beautifully weighted kick, isn't it? A little bit of traffic to deal with, and he just got it over the top to find McCluggage. He'll have a shot from just outside 50. So showing good versatility. Logan Morris, we just saw him take contested mark. Now he's leading up, hitting up at the ball, taking the ball cleanly in his hands low and then turning and delivering.
30 disposals last week and 7 inside 50s. No score yet for the year coming in today. It hasn't taken him long in this game. He's put through his first.
Yeah, that was a beautiful finish. Hugh McCluggage, a very good user when he's got time and space. One of the knocks that was on him in these early stages of his career was his ability to finish.
Couldn't finish.
But this kick, as you said, Jason, probably lucky. I mean, who was it there? The trainer was going through with Will Ashcroft, but Morris just had the peace of mind just to pump the brakes a little bit there and lob that ball over and hit the spot.
Yeah, 19 goals, 14 last year, Hugh McCluggage. 3rd most goals, 2nd best in terms of accuracy in his career. It does look like he's overcome those worries when he lines up for goals. So Brisbane re-establish an almost 4-goal advantage in this game. Rayner on the curl on the left. This Richmond defence is being overworked at the moment. This time Foss ain't able to prevail. Takes an aggressive line, short to Broad, tending towards that outer side. Miller, he now puts the brakes on it. Just takes what he's given. Short wants to change direction, and he can do it with speed on the kick. Trainer, likewise, in a rush to get it out. Oh, Nankervis, big man, toppled over by Archie. Tigers had the extra body. Sonsi comes away with a kick. Payne leading Lynch to the footy again.
Well, Lynch is yet to touch the footy, so they've been able to go inside and kick their 3 goals, 4 from 8 in this first quarter, as we said, without any contribution from him as such. So Jackson Payne, whether it's positioning or contest, has been able to keep a very good player quiet.
Rucks fight for front position, lurching Nankervis. Got there in the end, a 2-man tackle. Ashcroft still able to get it away to Berry, and now this is Wilmot tracking, handballing. No whistle, McCluggage. There was arms and elbows and everything going in every direction. Couldn't connect with the footy. Well done to Jack Ross. Lynch, Payne. Lynch!
Speak of the devil. He was too good to hold down, and that's probably the first time that he sort of had the ball placed in front of him and giving himself a chance to create that launch area and then go at highest point. He's very difficult to stop when he has those couple of steps in, and it was a good kick. If that was directly for that advantage, the ability to separate and then to launch, he's made a living out of that.
Only 7 disposals last week, just the 1 goal after missing round 2, of course. It's a great record against Brisbane. And with his first kick of the afternoon, he misses.
Wasn't a bad kick off the boot. Just faded late. It's a good contested mark. That'll get his confidence up.
Zorko was tipping over the line, but he goes short and sound to McInerney. Back to Neil. Quick revision of where he was going to head next. So not the perfect handball. Answorth floats it for Morris. Brown in awkward position. Morris looks to capitalise. Tried to spin past Miller. Resources of Richmond's. Now curves awkwardly for McIntosh. Can't afford to leave it behind, and lashing out, trying to get the footy and recover. Has given away the free to McCluggage. Into the sunshine of the punt road end. Rayner just manoeuvred under the footy.
Should have got a free kick, Rayner. He was blocked off the ball then by an opponent who had no intention of competing for the footy.
Just had a little word to the ump about that. I don't think he's going to change his mind.
Just do it politely when you're near goal, just in case. Trainer. Oh, look at that. Instant kick from Ashcroft. Bailey has been paid the mark.
How good's the kick out of the air from Ashcroft?
Remember Daniel Rawls' goal?
Kicked the goal in the goal square.
Yeah, so that was Subiaco. So that was that was quick hand of foot.
Created something out of nothing. And a great effort. Bailey to get back and take the diving mark coming over the head.
Yeah, you don't know what's coming the other way. So bit of tick up.
For a second goal already, Zach Bailey. Joe Danaher might be gone, but Brisbane have so many avenues to goal. And they put their foot down at the start of the second term. 3 quick goals. And it's a game-high 27-point lead, just like that.
They've been really harsh on the play on not 15, so did this go 15? Pretty hard to tell on that angle, but it'd be close enough. So that something like that might get paid in D50, but it seems like in forward 50 you get away with the shorter kicks and the marks.
It's an extraordinary decision to go for that kick because he knew as soon as he landed he was about to get tackled. So he had to get rid of it straight away.
Yep.
And to fashion a kick forward. That's brilliant. Creative from Ashcroft.
6 inside 50s for 3 goals this quarter.
So the efficiency turns around on its head. Brisbane threatening to get away. They whacked the Tigers last year by 119 points. Dow played on its merits and played it well through Hopper and Short. They look to get active. Tresice just strokes the kick out to the wing to Steely Green.
Play on!
She's got green shaded boots this afternoon, Steely. Sends it into the pocket. Andrews and Payne, they sort of fought with each other to who could get the bigger knuckle into the ball.
You don't become a premiership side without great balance. You know, the aerial there in Harris Andrews and Payne, it's very hard to get the Brisbane defence in the air. They cover the space to force that long kick down the line really well. It's just hard to score against them.
Neil's kick, as you saw, disrupted. Lightning hands, Trainer to Hopper. Feeding it back to Tresice, placing it to the middle to Short. He doesn't launch. Instead, looking to work that other side, or at least put some doubt in the Brisbane's defence. Brown to Ross and then to full forward, Payne.
The other great thing about that balance you're talking about, Bucks, is to have 2 key defenders is great in Andrews and Payne, but what they often do is they allow Payne to try and lock down on the gun forward and let Andrews do what he needs to do in terms of sweeping around, intercepting and just marshalling the defensive structure.
Yeah, well, even like Gardner's played a lot of footy in the back six, not so much in the last 12 months, but Starcevic is obviously a mainstay. But Leicester has become a really good third tall who can go to a key at times. And I love Answorth too as a defender. He sticks to his task and rarely gets beaten.
Sorko took possession, came out for the tackle. Lawler's handball, they're creeping closer to goal. McIntosh can't really extract himself out of all of that. They'll take it out of Leicester.
Did well to make the tackle after getting assaulted by a number of players, McIntosh.
It's a good-looking tap from Dan Curvis, but it went straight to the opposition. Now Morris finds himself in unfamiliar territory at half-back and well contained by Brown. So can Richmond lock it away in their front half? A lot of manpower there to try and do that. Crowded house and half forward. Tap down Dan Curvis, Precise knew what was coming. Lions on top in the clearance game in this quarter. Hopper trying to turn that around. Precise, they still don't get it cleanly out of there. Neal, and now Bailey. And suddenly the options just blossom through the middle. Ashcroft to Rayner, full charge. He was 70 from goal. He might be a bit closer when he picks it up this time. He just stabs the kick short. Bailey is everywhere at the moment.
Gee, that's clever. And in particular from Cam Rayner, because when he got the ball, he was running flat stick and there was no one to kick to inside
Eric
50.
Hipwood had stayed and hadn't lengthened.
If he kicks it, there's no score.
Yeah.
And there's Richmond players flooding back. So he went for a hand pass, which didn't quite hit the mark, or did hit the mark in the end, and then he went and got it back and was able to chip it to a player inside 50 in Bailey, just to create something when they had nothing on.
Zach Bailey now eyeing off his third goal of the afternoon. And he's plundering the Tigers at the moment. 4 in a row for Brisbane. There's a 33-point gap and threatening to blow out quickly.
Just like watching players that make good decisions. And good decisions have an impact on the scoreboard. So when he gets the ball in the middle of the ground, Cam Rayner, ultimately, if he just bombs away, nothing happens. Nothing comes from this play. And Bailey's the one that starts it at the clearance and keeps running. So watch him keep running. So right there, he's thinking, oh, I need to unload this by boot. But there's only Richmond players back. And Bailey continues to run from that stoppage at half-back. Great reward for his work.
Lockie Neal already up to 17 touches. He's knocked up getting the ball. McCluggage, 13. Ashcroft, 13. And then for the Tigers, Hopper, 14. Taranto, 11.
So 3 to Bailey, 2 to Morris are the multiple goal kickers.
It's hard to find a weakness in the Brisbane make-up Bucks when you look at each area of their game, isn't it?
I just think they're high forwards. Like we talk about like the smaller high forwards, but you know they've got high forwards with size. Bailey, Rayner. We know that Zorko can go there at times. Archie gets the job done.
Yep.
Cameron hasn't had to do much at all in the first couple of games of this year that he's played.
Slews off the boot of Trainer, and then Lawler fumbles the mark, but still somehow Richmond maintained possession. Campbell curls the kick inside. Armstrong, but back there was Day to Andrews as the last man, reaching up for it, Ashcroft. Beaten in the end by Hopper. Campbell, the goals were there, and he finds them, he's kicked his second.
That was a great finish. When you receive a handball facing away from goal, and you turn to go, that was 1.5 steps and a set yourself and finish. That was a really good kick in the end, but the pressure was there on Harris Andrews, probably an errant kick, but Seth Campbell's ability just to locate the goals and finish effectively was great. That one there, not a great exit kick.
Sorely needed for Richmond. They can't afford this to get away too far too quickly.
Precise has had some nice touches. It's just 7 touches for the game, but when he gets his hands on the ball, it seems that something comes from them. A couple of score assists.
Both ruckman at full stretch. It was Blight and Day. It's Taranto.
We spoke about Seth Campbell pre-game getting amongst the goals, and he's been picked for holding the ball. He had 7 goals from 3 games prior. He's got another 2 already. Just keeps hitting the scoreboard consistently.
Rayner gave and protected Zorko in full flight towards full forward. Cameron denied. Reveal. There's enough Brisbane fans. Get the big call going for Bruce or Brown. Maybe it was about to take a step too far. Found a way out of there. Banks' handball a bit forceful. Grabbed by Rayner. McCluggage. Off the left. This is by a margin.
So just lacked a little bit of polish. You could see what Richmond were trying to do. Quick hands, trying to run their way out of defence. The pressure from Brisbane was good, caused the error.
Yeah, the pressure from the opposition and then a slightly errant handball forces a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth handball, which gives you more chance to pressure and turn the ball over eventually. Brisbane with a chance to win it back.
Play on the call on Floston. He just decides to put 55 metres on the kick. Blight came late to make sure there's no easy access, but there's Brisbane players swarming. Hipwood to McCluggage, circled by Tigers. One of them was McIntosh. The loose handball came from Trainer. Taranto just lugged it on the boot and hoped for the best. They need the bounce to go their way. Andrews escorts Payne, and then Zorko again. His 9th disposal. Back to the members' wing to Fletcher, who's prowling around up there. Bailey already with 3 goals. Taken by Brown. He had some run from behind, and he certainly needed it. Trainer's kick towards Lynch, who at least made the contest and split it.
Payne did so well then to cut the angle. Lynch had him out the back a little bit. The kick wasn't quite to his advantage, but have a look at this one. Is that Will or Levi? Oh, that's Levi. The Ashcrofts have had the most possessions without the feet on the ground today.
27 points the margin. Hopper handballing forward. Fletcher. Look at that for some zip and run. Audacious stuff from the young man, who's already played in 2 grand finals and won 1 premiership.
Just hung on to a little bit. Hung on to a little bit too long, Hutto.
Well, that's okay,
and Big Nag said not having any of that young fella gave him a nice old shove to the deck.
Day doing the rucking again. Rain almost between his legs there. Richmond fans trying to get the chant going. The knockdown went straight to Dunkley though from Nankervis. Now Cameron and hunted by Dow. Holding the ball, he did well to turn him enough.
No, missed opportunity. Charlie Cameron is a goal scorer and he's always looking for where he can score, but there was a handball target there to give a player in a better position.
You mentioned before he hadn't had to do anything, so he's feeling the pump a little bit. He wants to have an impact.
Well, he can. Just make the next best decision, not one that you're trying to force.
Return last week, Charlie Cameron. Then Curvis to half forward to Blight. Steely Green bolts along the boundary line as Richmond travel the flats. Margin is 27. Brisbane flexing at the start of the term. That is not a very well directed kick, it's fair to say. There's lines everywhere. One of them was Eric Hipwood.
I'd love him to leave Sam Day as a forward and just give Eric Hipwood, he might be here at the moment, but give Eric Hipwood 5 minutes in the ruck and just see if you can build him up across the course of the year. It gives you a few more options with what you're going to do with your forward second ruck setup.
Accolades for Miller there in his 50th from the Tiger fans for the spoil.
We've spoken a lot about Jacob Blight and the fact that he's played key forward, he's played key defence, he's played second ruck. Ultimately, they'll need him to settle down in a position. Bucks, do you have an inkling where that might be? Yeah.
He's looked really good in front of the ball. And I think that they've got enough in Boston and Broad and like young Trainer to play with medium defenders that can get the job done aerially.
Neil kicking it Richmond's way, really. There's Richmond players everywhere sweating. Campbell, Ross, turning, Taranto, Lawler, one more give. It was a good one. Banks fires away. And the smile spread.
We talk about being able to be clean and take advantage of efficient handballs and how important it is in today's game. And there's a couple of clean handballs here, but When you see Lawler get this one, like that's just on the spot. You get a player that doesn't have to break stride. He takes it exactly where he needs to, with momentum, with confidence, and finishes.
Great thing about that Lawler hand pass is it had penetration. He floats it. Well, then
Yes.
takes the game to get closed down before he can actually kick the ball. It got there quick. Good finish too.
Sam Banks missed last week. Concussion returns today.
Come back late in quarters to kick the last. He kicked the last 2 of the first quarter. They've kicked the last 2 in this quarter.
Suddenly the next 6.5 minutes feel more important. A heightened sense here at the MCG. Dunkley. Short straight away into the handball. As soon as he had possession, he was running forward to receive. It never arrived. The Ashcrofts again work a bit of magic in tight. This time to Morris. Full consideration. Equal numbers. Should be a great contest in there. Archie couldn't. Day. And then the tackles away to force a ball.
You can see the 3 pairs, they're all looking at the sun. No one quite tracking the ball. It's hard.
Unusual too, isn't it, to see 3 even pairs so close to goal.
Well, Richmond are prepared to play a man-on-man game all over the ground. They want to get the contest wherever they can.
Curvis had some influence. McIntosh and then Sonsi. They're going to be a marker on the full most likely, and they'll track through the air by Fletcher.
And they're prepared to play 6 forwards in front of the ball, which weds their Brisbane defenders to them. It's in contrast to last night.
Now the masses have grown even more. The height of McInerney twisted and turned. There's Will Ashcroft jumping across the top of the pack. Rayner was the man underneath it all. Margin 21. Richmond fans at the punt road end. Edging on. There's plenty of Lions fans here as well. Broad. Didn't want to rush. High from Brown. Lawler v Leicester. Berry, Neal. There always seems to be a Brisbane player to go to. Payne. She's in again. And up they fly. Oh, brilliantly sharp by Levi Ashcroft. Doesn't get the due rewards.
Missed opportunity. May have had a hand pass option,
To Charlie.
but they're having
That might have been payback.
repeat inside 50s though for Brisbane. They're pushing hard late here, trying to get a couple back themselves.
14 inside 50, so 4 goals, 1 in this quarter. Short settles on the members' side. And settles on his captain, Nan Curvis, as the target. But Berry and Fletcher creeping close enough. There's a whistle here.
Good finish.
He's finished it anyway.
There's no doubt on him finishing a goal, was it? That he kicked that with gusto and he was prepared to take his opportunities. Probably having more shots on goal now as a halfback than he was as a wingman, and he's still getting his wing time also. But what a impressive young man he has been. Like, he's taken to this game, to the AFL standard, really well. To be able to drive through and finish as a halfback, great work.
Kicked 5 goals, 8 last year.
There's been a few advantage calls that have been interesting today.
Lachie Neale up to 20 disposals in the game. Casper Fletcher is usually around that 13-14 disposal mark for the game. He's had 11 in the first half. To back up what you were saying, Bucks.
Well, I think he just open field play, runs up and back. We know that he's done that on the wing. He's going to find himself in contests a little bit more. The opportunity to get to choose whether to attack or defend, and he's doing it relatively well.
Starting at centre half back at the centre bounce. You know those positions don't mean what they used to.
But you look at the prime movers for Brisbane. You said Neale with 20, Dunkley's had 16, McCluggey's has had 15. They're just controlling things through the middle.
Game sitting almost 5 goals apart.
Will Ashcroft is on 13 as well.
Clearances at 23-18, so it's not as if they've smashed them around stoppage, but they're finding the ball in general play and transition.
That's where the Tigers do have experience, isn't it, around the footy? But Archie to Neale, and threatening again. It's Charlie time.
You're right, Bucks. The weight of that kick. He just had to find the space out in front of Charlie, who'd gotten out the back of his opponent. And we've mentioned he's struggled to have an impact today. Charlie Cameron. He's had a couple of possessions, just the one behind to his name. It's an opportunity here.
Just kicked the one goal last week in his first game of the year. Ended his streak of 145 consecutive games by missing the first 2 this season. Great kick. His 3rd grand final, he won his first flag last September. He's back at the G and kicking more Charlie Cameron goals.
It can be a very difficult role to play. I mean, he's out the back, and if you're having to lengthen and you're finding an extra player through attacking mid and running through the top of 50 and kicking the ball over your head, but this is out of stoppage, and it's a great lead. He's able to find a little bit of separation, and he's used. But I think that this position, it's just high work rate, put yourself in the spot as often as you can, take your lick of the ice cream when it comes, and Charlie Cameron's done it extremely well over a long period of time.
They've got some words of advice over the fence from the Tiger supporters and just pointed to him after he kicked the goal.
Been all positive, Jason. He's won in round 10 against the Lions last year.
It's interesting now, though, isn't it? He's one of the best at getting out the back.
Every time there's a hint of a threat in this game, Brisbane just up the ante, though, don't they?
I thought you were saying every time there's a hint of getting out the back, he's off.
Well, there's that too. Margin at 34, the Richmond response. Dow somehow got close enough to go without even taking possession. And ultimately, that was the fault, and he doesn't get the shot. So 34 points between those 2 teams. Not a huge surprise. Brisbane unbeaten so far this year. Richmond just that 1 win in round 1 where they did come from behind from 41 points in arrears. We'll give them something to work with. Short, snaffle it up, get the quick. Armstrong, could have been a push in the back. He keeps on fighting for it. It's a tough way to learn for a young key forward.
Yeah, you can see Dane Zorga's just suggesting to the umpire it was a push.
Fletcher and McCluggage.
Great tackle.
The hunt was on, and Lawler is going to get a shot for goal as a result of it.
So McCluggage was trying to run that one out. He thought he had a clearance where they could run and carry and move that ball, transition from D50 up the field, but he was chased down from behind. That's a great tackle.
But that's the game, isn't it? It's the intensity of being able to get to the ball carrier before he thinks you're going to be able to get that. I think that should always be rewarded. That holding the ball when you can't dispose of it, you catch a player off guards. Great work.
Wasn't able to take his first opportunity, but with a couple of steps, beautifully balanced, he nails this one. And the Tigers chip away.
He's an exciting player, Sam Lawler. And he can do it in all facets of play. We've seen him kick goals opportunistically. We've seen him take marks in a very short space of time. And now he's showing us defensively the ability to push off, be explosive off the mark, run down McCluggage, tackle him without getting into his back. Didn't give the free kick away. Turns it into a goal. It's a really good technique in the tackle because he turned him side on. When you run someone down from behind, turn them side on, they land on their side. You can't give the free kick away for in the back. It's a quality tackling technique. He reaps the reward.
A little bit of feedback there from one of the players, the most confusing rule ever. 28 points. McInerney, Neil, who has had 21 disposals in this game so far.
Talking about prior opportunity, I'm assuming, Hutto, is what they were calling confusing.
Don't think it was Luke Beveridge who was out there. He, of course, put voice to that during the week. Quick kick from Taranto. Takes some yardage and sets up a chase. Campbell's up for that. Darts inside Answorth. Floats the handball. The run from behind was good from Precise. Lawler again. Just strokes it to the square. Banks waiting at the back. So was Payne.
Yeah, Archie was good too. Pushing all the way back, getting there to affect the spoil.
2.5 minutes remaining. Ideally, the Tigers would love to be able to get a late one. Fletcher continues to thrive. Oh, that's a good hard-won mark on the wing by Sam Day. Great to see him get this opportunity. Has not had a lot of luck in his time as an original son. Stayed living on the Gold Coast. Travels up to Brisbane now. Archie. Well handled by Brown.
Shows a lot of promise, Tom Brown, and he's still very early on in his career. Just to tick over 20 games. He's going to be a good player.
A lot of hope and faith in young trainer as well. That's 50. Suddenly a bit of vim and vigour and excitement for Miller and for Richmond. So the 8 over 50. Can they capitalise? They creep a little close to the goal. Careful kick from Hopper, a good one. To Dow.
That was a little bit easy, Hutto. That's got a few Brisbane players looking around, pointing the finger. What was going on there? Because you should be set up when there's a stoppage of play for a 50-metre penalty. You've got ample opportunity to get your structure right. And they didn't do that.
Thompson Doubts in game number 38. He only has one goal in his AFL career. Suspect that will be on his mind right now. What a time and a place for his second. Dow.
Yep, you got him, Hutto. You got him. They haven't given in, which has been encouraging from the Tigers. I mean, they're being a little bit outclassed. Some of the finishing at one end's better than the other, but they continue to have a crack and they continue to push, to look for holes, to try and penetrate the opposition's defensive setup, and at times doing a good job. We've got someone go down off the ball there, Dane Zorko.
7 scores to 6 in this quarter. It's 6-1 to 3-3. Fisted back by Nan Curvis. Now out of that clump. It's Berry whacking away. Taranto to Brown into the middle. Short. Ball's in the right hands of the urging of the Tiger fans. He kicks it along, looking for Lynch. He took about 3 out as he flew.
And it looked a genuine jump at the
I'm not
footy,
sure
though.
he actually did anything wrong.
Put the knee in the back
He
and
definitely
he
did
touched
that,
the
but
ball.
He's still allowed to do that.
Yeah, 100%. Unless it was given against someone else.
He's grumpy. I don't think it was. It was against Lynch.
But it's a tough decision, Hutto. I think it's a genuine contest.
Double figures for both quarters. 12th of the second quarter and he's 22nd of the game. Brisbane had the experience and the class edge and a 26-point advantage on the scoreboard to boot. 10-6-66, leading Richmond 6-4-40. They won't be coming from behind to win today, Brisbane. Who knows, maybe Richmond will. They did it in round 1 against Carlton. But it's the reigning premiers in control. Richmond up for the fight, though, today at halftime at the MCG on Super Saturday.
All right, there we go. Half time here at the MCG. It's the Brisbane Lions 10-6-66. Tigers holding on 6-4-40, 26-point margin. And Tigers still not going too bad out there. Now, I was just looking how many disposals Doe, Lucky have. Lockie Neal. We'll have a little bit of a look at that disposal count for you. I think you're meaning Lockie Neal. I think that's here. So, what we're going to do, we'll jump straight over to the stats. But first, Lockie Neal, if you are taking the AFL fantasy game, you're playing that. He's leading the way, 66 points up until half time. Toby Nankervis, 64. Tim Taranto, Hugh McCluggage, 61. The rest under that. We'll have a look at the disposal count in just a moment, folks. For the goal scorers, if you're following along, your favourite player, Zach Bailey, tops the table there for Brisbane on 3 goals. Logan Morris on 2 goals. Hugh McCluggage on 1. Jasper Fletcher on 1. Charlie Cameron, he's turned up with 1, as has Will Ashcroft and Callum Achee. For the Tigers, Seth Campbell, the only multiple goal scorer there for the Tigers with 2. Tim Taranto, Sam Laylor, Steely Green, Sam Banks have got 1 each for the Tigers. All right, the disposal count, I think was it Lockie Neal you were talking about? I think it was. Here we go. Lockie Neal tops the table, 22. There we go. Your man's on top, 11 handballs, 11 kicks, 1 mark, 2 tackles, 3 clearances. He's having a good game. He's in for a high possession game. Lockie Neal, he'll top the 30 without a doubt. He should go over the 35. Can he hit 40? There's a very good chance he'll top 40 today. He should definitely get over 35. He is leading the way by 3 on the disposal count. Jacob Cooper Jacob Hopper is going quite nicely there for the Tigers on 19 with 6 kicks, 13 handballs, 2 marks, 2 tackles, 5 clearances. He's having a good one. Josh Dunkley, next best for the Lions on 18. Tim Taranto on 16 for the Tigers. Hugh McCluggage on 15. Cam Raynar's picked his game up a bit. Nice. He's up to 14. Good to see him racking up a few disposals for a change. Will Ashcroft there up to 14. Who else have we got there? Dane Zorko, he's up to 12. He's working hard down the back line there. And, of course, Toby Nankervis for the Tigers doing well as well. He's up to 11, 7 kicks, 4 handballs, 2 marks, 2 tackles, 24 hit-outs. Wowee, there we go. Very good, very good. Who else have we got down there? Let's just have a little bit of a look. Zach Bailey on 8 there. Steely Green on 5. Eric Hipwood, a bit of a quiet one for him, especially where Brisbane sit at the moment. Only 4 disposals, 2 kicks, 2 handballs, 2 marks. Has not troubled the scoreboard yet. Calamachi, he's going pretty quiet, isn't he? Yeah, just the 4 disposals, although he's kicked a goal. And, of course, Charlie Cameron, tell you what, he's just not on song today. He's had 3 disposals, 3 kicks, but he has kicked 1 goal, 1. You just can't seem to get into the game. And, of course, Tom Lynch, well, the Brisbane Lions are, well, absolutely doing a number on him. He's just had 1 kick for the day, 1 point. He's had a mark and a tackle. That is all he has had today. There's your stats. Disposal count, though, not as big as margin as one would think. It's only 21 plus to the Lions, 179-200. The Lions going above season average. Kicks pretty even. The Lions just handballing a little bit more, extra 23 plus. They're inside 50s, though. Well, this is where the Tigers are falling down. They've only had 18 inside 50s. But the good thing, they've scored 10 times for their 18. So they're reasonably efficient going inside forward 50 are the Tigers. The Lions, however, 35 inside 50s. They are going to, I think they're going to absolutely crunch their season average of 59. 16 scoring shots so far. And their efficiency, disposal efficiency is pretty good, up to 78%. That's pretty high for the Lions. Tigers not bad at 69-8. Free kicks, not many given out there today. 7-10, plus 3 to the Lions. The hit-outs, not a great deal in it there, just plus 4 to the Lions. Clearances all tied up. Centre clearances, though, Brisbane doing the job there, 10-4. Stoppage clearances, well, Richmond have got that one right there. Contested possessions, not a great deal in it, just a 4. Uncontested, as you'd expect, Brisbane Lions, they're just controlling the ball a little bit more. Plus 27 in that aspect, but the marking, both teams pretty even there, 44-43. Marks inside 50, 4 to Richmond, 8 to the Lions. Although the Lions got 8, it's good to see Richmond have got a few there as well. Let's have a look at the tackle count. It's always good to see the young side there getting in there, continuing to put a little bit of pressure on, even though they're not winning on the scoreboard. They're not giving up. They're doing well. 38 tackles, Richmond to 33 Brisbane Lions. So that's great news there for Richmond. We'll put it back on the scoreboard. G-Man, how you doing? How you doing? All right, let me just take us back down to the commentators while they give a bit of analysis on the opening half.
Finding players, Will Ashcroft has stood up and done really well. Bailey's finishing on the scoreboard. They're just, they're so hard to stop when they get a run on.
What an absolute treat it is, too, to be down here in the inner sanctum of the Brisbane Lions in the rooms as we have a look around us. Bucks, all the different line groups in meetings. Yeah, well, when they came in, they were talking about body language and let's make sure we're up and about and projecting that positivity. It's not difficult when they put together a first half that they have put together, but in their divisions, it's good to be back in the rooms, to be honest, Sarah, to sort of be a part of this and be close to it. We're very fortunate to be here, but this team, the reigning premiers from last year, they're organised, they know exactly what they're about. It's very professional, very balanced, and they're ready to take the lessons out of the first half to take into the second. Not many issues for the Brisbane Lions at the moment. They look a pretty complete team. After the break, we're going to head to our studios where Kath and the team are going to debate and dissect a very controversial and thrilling end to the game between the Gold Coast Suns and the Adelaide Crows. It was an absolute thriller, and it's got the entire football world talking. Don't miss that. It's coming up next on Super Saturday Live.
minute and a half, we clearly didn't get things going our way. So I sort of sit here as a coach and say, well, what do I preach to the players? I preach about you being in the moment. Don't blame others. Get on with life. You got to butter up and go again next week. So I'm doing my best to stay in that space.
Well, if you missed the earlier game on Super Saturday, you missed the best game of the season so far. This, a minute 45 left on the clock. Gold Coast up by a point. This was not paid a mark. Question is, David King, should it have been paid a mark?
Well, if he doesn't mark it, I'm not sure he can spoil halfway through the middle of his back.
So it was a mark.
Either way, it should have been a shot at goal for Isaac Rankin, but this had everything to finish.
And then Adelaide, they just kept coming. This with about 15 seconds left on the clock. Riley Fieldthorpe couldn't take the mark. Then cops a bit of a knee to the head. Nothing to see here from the umpire. The Suns held on to win by a point. Thrilling scenes at People First Stadium on the Gold Coast, and it spilled over following the full-time siren. David King, Mac Andrew had a bit to say to Riley Fieldthorpe, who finished with 5 goals. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, there's a bit of nasty about the Suns, and this is Damien Hardwick's stand. He wants them to have an edge about them and embrace these confrontations. Look, Mac was probably being a bit of a tool, to be fair. Riley had kicked 5 goals and really lit the game up, but look, it had everything. It had a bit of spite and a bit of feeling at the end, a bit of passion.
It just kept carrying over, didn't it? What do you think Damien Hardwick would say, though? Because, yes, they've got that edge, but Riley had kicked 5 goals. Mac Andrew, well, you've got a bit of criticism on his game. Do you think it was right for him to do that?
Oh, no doubt there'll be a sit-down had between him and the coach, because I think Mac had 4 or 5 kicked on him, to be fair. Tex Walker and the Talls down there, Riley Fieldthorpe and the Fog, they kicked 12 goals between them. So, look, Damien will be rapt that they've shown this sort of spunk. It's a huge win for this football club, undefeated now.
Bit of a rivalry building between the Suns and Adelaide Crows. We're going to dissect that even further in our Saturday night debrief following all the live action. But we're back to the MCG next. It is the Lions leading the Tigers.
Alex, plus 17 for inside 50s. Would you like a little bit more efficiency inside that forward line?
Yeah, definitely would. We've taken 8 marks, and look, to be honest with you, we haven't been in front half-time in any game this year, so it's good to actually be in front by a decent margin. Just felt like we overused handball in that first half, and I think that contributed to 3 or so of their goals, and then we let them get 3 goals in red time. So here are the areas that we can improve.
The 2 midfield guns in Lockie and Will, picking up from where they left off on grand final day. How pleasing is it to see them continue to set those standards?
Yeah, no, they do set the bar high for the team. And the other guys in there are doing a good job as well. We just need to maintain that in the second half. We rely on winning contested possession, so we're looking for a good effort in that department.
Thanks for your time.
Nice.
Premiership coach Chris Fagan and Sarah Jones as the Lions look to continue their dominance over Richmond.
The old red time goals, they're the bane of a coach. 2 in the first quarter and the last one of the second. It's an area that you focus on heavily, so when the opposition have it, you don't like it.
Third quarter from the MCG. Lions swarming quickly. Well done from Ross to stop Wilmot bouncing off half back, as he is prone to do. Precise through to McIntosh, just bundles it up. Lynch gets some separation, not really on pain. Light came through, Lawler was still standing. Ross to the outside. Green. Answorth. Saving the day, but he's played on. They're behind, on side of the post.
Under 11s.
So if he marks it in between the 2 goal posts, he's going to come back out that way. He's going to exit the same way he went in.
So that's costing the point.
Yeah.
So it's Canada's play on behind the line. One thing that, it was great to be down there at half-time, just to see the boys come in. Very professional, very quiet, but controlled. The only thing I heard, I was close to the backs divisional. They want to change angles, just keep moving and shifting the defence.
Tigers win it back. A moment's hesitation was a moment too long from Blight. Well, the whistle didn't blow, and they were almost able to get it back and put the clamps on the Lions. Can they tie them down in that back half? Levi Ashcroft. Any encouragement from the Richmond faithful out there?
A little bit of what Chris Fagan was talking about, overuse by hands. That welcomes Richmond's pressure, which has been relatively consistent throughout the afternoon. They're currently at 177. It's not high, but Brisbane a lot better when they're kicking and changing the angle to find the gaps.
Bailey just zooming away from half-back. Sends it to a one-on-one. Broad had to help out his teammate because Charlie was threatening with Caleb Smith. Cameron keeps it in. Smith able to get back and do what he needed to do, and Broad scooped it and walked over at the same time. A shake of the head from Cameron in frustration.
Interesting talking about Chris Fagan wanting less handball because they genuinely overuse it. I think 96 hand passes in the first half is the most they've had since about 2018. So you can do much more damage by foot.
Tigers matching them for the uncontested marks today so far. Taranto didn't want to force the issue with the handball. Need a bit of help to get out of there. That's a good snatch out of the air from Lawler. Those traits that he's showing us already, enough to get Richmond fans very excited about the future. They're going to have to be patient though. The build is pretty good off the wing this time. Lawler again, about to play his part. Not sure he actually got the legitimate handball away with Cluggage, but it's Brisbane's turn to hit back and hit back hard. Day all on his own. Didn't want to rush the kick, wanted to use the extra number they had to maximise their chance. Eventually Berry couldn't have been more settled, and he's deadly accurate to finish off the play.
Absolutely love the way they did that. So Sam Day gets the mark and he's got a paddock in front of him. So he turns and plays on, but he doesn't rush the decision making. He has a look. There's no real options inside 50. He knows Jared Berry's continuing to run. So he says, all right, I'll give it back to the runner. Let him carry. And then it's the decision for Jared Berry to make. And he goes, okay, I'll look at the options. And again, they're not really appearing. You'll see Archie leads in the pocket. So he has a good look at everything and then says, I'll take it myself.
And it was a great finish. Right back to the wing. because Richmond were out, and right back to the wing. Josh Dunkley lunge tackle when Lawler wasn't expecting it, and that turned the ball over.
Yeah.
And the other selfless actions were Cameron and Archie lengthening out to create that space for Berry to run into.
It's a bit of overuse by handball by the Tigers as well on that occasion.
Oh, the pain on the face of Adam Uze.
Yeah, it wasn't good, was it? Frustration. The joys of coaching, but
it's a show in itself. Back over the tap, reading it well was Rayner. Through Neil, and then the zigzag, and the long kick from Bailey. Maximum pressure on the Tiger defence. Miller fights through against Hipwood. Archie's caught up in the squeeze and shut down. That, well, it's pretty close to pro opportunity there. Good tackle from Trainer. Bit of push and a fair bit of shove. McIntosh, Van Curvis onto the boot.
Oh, will he go back and have another ping?
Not this time, Wilmot, surely. It was a metre or two short last time and seems intent on trying to find a teammate. Good waiting on the kick, although well read at the back ultimately by Trainer. And Richmond were overrun in the third quarter last week by St Kilda's. Their worst term. They'll be looking to make sure that doesn't repeat. Richmond +3 for contested possessions, but +31 on the scoreboard. Everyone just about fell over there. Oh, and there's more bodies strewn everywhere. McCluggage the latest.
Some good shoves going on in and around the contest as well.
Surely not.
Players getting away with plenty.
Not after last week.
McIntosh with the watching brief on Lockie Neal, who took it anyway, gave it to McCluggage. Slight fumble from Ross. It's just a hurried handball from Hopper, maybe to the voice of Campbell, and then Trainer with a clearing kick. For how long? Lynch made the contest. Nothing wrong with the reflexes of Wilmot. His kick, though, is smothered, and Richmond do get an opportunity. Lynch first with the handball. The pressure is overwhelming from Brisbane. Bailey receiving from Answorth. Spots a little gap, and Ashcroft wasn't going to miss out on snaffling that, Levi.
Really good play there by Ashcroft. The kick wasn't to his advantage, and he didn't just continue on that path and hope that the ball got to him. He actually adjusted, came back to the ball, which gave him the chance to get to it first. Mark or free kick, he earned that with the player bearing down on him.
Kicked his first AFL goal last week. Wearing his father, Marcus's number 10 for the Brisbane Lions. It's got the right shape. He's kicked one today. And he looks every inch the prospect that he was promised to be. A goal at the MCG for Levi Ashcroft. It's better than being a spectator on Grand Final Day. As good as this day would have been, and to share the moment with his North Smith winning brother.
He was really keen to get on the MCG, wasn't he? He just had to wait a few more months. But
no, he only had to wait a few more seconds. He's out there on the MCG now.
Much prefer it when you can get a kick and a handball and finish a goal from 40 metres on a 45-degree angle. Geez, he's been good. He's been preparing for it a long time. He's seen his brother go through the challenge of the highs and the lows, the challenge of an ACL, and then to be able to fight through to win a Norm Smith medal in that very game last year. So he's had a great role model to follow in the footsteps of, and he's started really well on his own journey.
Levi learning to caper as a forward, a wing at the moment. He's inside the forward 50. I'm sure he covets being in there with his brother, and that won't be far away.
I think he was going to be sub in that round 0 game too before he got the chance to start.
Charlie Cameron. Lawler's in there at the moment for the Tigers, getting his midfield education, but it squirts out to Wilmot, who continues to mop up anything that comes his way. Payne, and we'll see Ashcroft in a wrestle. That appetite for the footy is evident again. Trainer, same age group coming through. Showed plenty of promise in his early days as a Tiger defender. The rucks are whacking away. Lawler does prevail here. Sonsi, neat little hands to Dow, and then Ross has pushed forward to the contest. Close enough to play on. Didn't get a rush of blood. He got it for Blight, who makes a rare aerial error. And he's very frustrated at So was the Richmond mob.
Not sure it was a great kick, but that's one of those opportunities where a little bit more composure and they end up with a goal, whether they go for goal or do the chip into the pocket. Either way, you've got to hit the mark.
Has to put it behind him now, Blight. Richmond attacking. Dow. Taken down by McCluggage. Martin sits at a game high 37. Moore again, desperately to the outside. Ross claimed immediately by the desperate Wilmot. And the frustration's growing, but Richmond is still in the vicinity. McInerney bypassed Neil. His direct opponent is McIntosh. Getting it was one thing, releasing it was another. And there was no sympathy from the umpire.
And tackling's a basic too. If you're in your defensive 50 at stoppages and you have to tackle an opposition who has the ball, they laid 2 or 3 really good and fair tackles in a row there. 2 to draw a stoppage and then 1 to win the ball back. Could have easily been free kicks against if you don't execute that properly.
Brisbane have already laid 13 tackles in this third quarter to 3. Reveal. McCluggage powers on. Charlie Cameron is the deepest forward, 2 kicks away, so he's going to be the middleman. Big Oscar's pushed forward as well. Kick at a pretty low trajectory, a hard one from Morris. He's flying out of there, and the tackle from Hopper, and the footy goes back over the boundary and out of bounds. As we said, a leadership role for Trent Cotchin, the former Tiger captain.
That's not a good sign.
No. Will's come a cropper.
He's really struggling.
Reveal had time on his side. Goes to Cameron in the pocket. Smith stayed with him, but couldn't stop him taking the mark.
That's a quality mark. And in the meantime, Miller's in real trouble. He's going to come from the ground. He can barely get a hobble up.
Just the 3 disposals for Charlie Cameron. 1 goal, 1 so far today. Miller in his 50th game. Not what he might have imagined. Here's Charlie. Couple of deep breaths. He knows what to do. No John Denver to greet him for goals here at the MCG. But he'll be home soon enough.
He's limping off as well.
Yeah.
Might have landed on that knee as he took the second grab.
Still well enough to have the shot for goal.
What the Tigers did well was to be able to equalise with Miller, even though the fact that Miller did, they had no free Lions forwards. He kicks the ball nice and flat, Reveal, and he always seems to put it to the advantage of his forward. He's not always going to hit the target, but if you're just kicking to a spot and you're giving your guy the chance to win it, that's still a good kick, isn't it?
Which is all you want as a forward. Kick it to your side of the contest to give you the box seat to compete.
We've kicked the last 3 goals. It's out to 43 points.
Well, this has just been a repeat of the first couple of quarters. Brisbane come out of the blocks hard. And if you're Chris Fagan and the leaders of Brisbane, you're aware of what happened in the back half of the first 2 quarters. You don't want it to repeat. Maintain the rage.
Overtime on Charlie Cameron down there.
Something like Richmond have presented a really, a consistent pressure. They haven't got many inside 50s, but they look like they're playing with a system and a shape that's going to give them a chance. They're just up against a better opposition at present.
And that's the way it feels. Campbell with 2 lines to deal with. He's quick enough and clever enough and sends it forward with good direction, and Armstrong takes the mark.
One thing they are doing is they're keeping 6 forwards forward of the ball.
Yeah.
We spoke about that in the first half, and what that does is when they do find that time and space and win their clearances, it's forced Brisbane to press the high defenders to press up, and they've been able to get Brisbane out the back a couple of times. The one that missed in the pocket, and we've been able to hit this one.
Kicked his first 2 goals of his career in Adelaide in round 2. Been hard to win possessions, but the young man at 18, wouldn't he love a goal at the punt road end of the stadium?
That's unfortunate.
Because it's a high ball drop.
Yeah, it is. I love the build-up work, though. What Seth Campbell's doing. He's proving to be a really good prospect for the Tigers. He hits the scoreboard, but he does a lot of work up the ground. He helps. He sets up scores as well. And his ability to back his speed then is impressive.
Change of mind from Wilmot, kicking to the extremities. Right half back. Answorth saw a little passage, he could sneak along. Maximum distance on the kick. Day got a fair piece of it, not enough to be paid a mark. I don't think Sam's too happy with the call there.
Probably a bit stiff, man, in front.
That's the work on Charlie Cameron. Seems to be like lower back or hip region.
Confirmation, Hutto, from the club. It is his hip, just getting a bit of work on the sidelines, but he's had a big smile on his face the entire time. He doesn't look in too much distress. Ben Miller down in the rooms receiving further assessment on that lower leg.
Thank you, Sarah. 42 points is the margin. Brown had some insurance at the back, and Smith got bowled over rather flagrantly from Rayner, and that's just raised the ire of a few of the Richmond teammates.
Just to re-emphasise your point on Seth Campbell, he's only had 10 touches, kicked a couple of goals himself, had 5 score assists, and he's the 4th ranked player on the field according to Champion Data. So
if he's involved in everything that hits the scoreboard for the Tigers, you'll see him involved in it in one way, shape or form.
The veteran McIntosh to half forward. Oh, Berry just found himself a little too far forward. Slight misjudgment. Wilmot.
Jesus, he'd well to get a boot on that.
Yeah, squirts out to Neil. He quickly goes to work. Smooth build up. Dunkley. Archie starts behind. Took down his opponent in trainer and is given away the free, I think. Yes, it is going Richmond's way. Late the other way.
That was from the midfield umpire.
Lions fans didn't like it. There's the replay of why.
He had the drop.
Just flopped over the top, and Berry suddenly realised he was close enough.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, he had the drop, Archie. He had to sit on his direct opponent, but just was too aggressive to try and force him under the ball.
42-point margin. Tigers trying to avoid 3 consecutive beltings at the start of the season after, of course, their inspirational come-from-behind win in round 1 against Carlton. Back at the MCG. Parts of the game today has been good, but this Brisbane team threatening to overwhelm. Neil tried to soften the kick for the advantage of Morris, but instead Trainer, part of a host of Tigers back there. Oh boy, not a great kick. That's an understatement.
Ravilla can go back and have a shot, but I love the little exchange after we saw that Lockie Neal kick from the pocket that missed the target. He copped a cook from Ashcroft because he thought he should have got the hand pass from him. To have a young player, albeit is a great player. Hey?
Levi or Will?
Not Will. Oh. But he cooked him. Yeah. He said, mate, you had to give me the hands.
There's enough Lions fans here today to enjoy the work of Reville. They'd like nothing better than a big Bruce. A Bruce roast.
We love a cult thing, don't we, Bucks?
It's so good. Like to be ringing out on the MCG.
Yeah. What a buzz.
Made it. And what an excellent kick he is. I mean, you talk about, I know in clubland you talk about you can't actually make players better kicks. You might be able to take a good to a very good, an under average to an average, but you can't elevate it too far. But he's come in. He's an excellent kick of the footy.
We're always talking about conversion and we get frustrated when players don't make the most of opportunities. Brisbane have kicked 11-1 from set shots. That's the way to put an opposition away.
Born in Papua New Guinea, of course, Bruce Reville. While playing VFL, he worked in an abattoir, driving a forklift at a Bunnings and delivering packages for Crisco at Christmas to raise the money to keep his AFL dream alive.
It's those sort of stories that I think that's the best thing about our game. The fact that it's for all shapes and sizes, people from all walks of life. You're all even when you get out onto the MCG and play this game.
Midpoint of the third. So quickly out of the stoppage, Neil and Zorko. And spread the width from Levi up to Will. He wouldn't have liked that, but Precise couldn't stop them, keep it moving, and they get an extra possession. Neil Shovels out the handball to Ainsworth, who sends it to Andrews with direction.
This is what they were talking about, getting off the line. Ainsworth could have easily just found a target skinny or long down the line, but no, change. He did not even think about it. He knew before the ball got to him he was going out the other side to change angle, open up the defence.
Yep, Dunkley came up to be part of it, left it behind for Reveal. Well handled by Banks, but Dunkley not taking that one. Sends it to Zorko. Great kick on the 45. Plethora of options, either Ashcroft. He goes for Will. There's still movement ahead from Bailey. Out of the square comes Eric. And Morris was there as well. Green flicks the handball away. Comes to Archie. Snap misses.
Good lesson for Logan Morris there. You're coming on the lead. You've got a man behind you. You've got to attack that ball with your hands. He was waiting for the chest mark. That allowed the fist to come around the back and punch the ball away.
They've kicked the only 4 goals at the third term, the Lions. On top of the clearance, as you can see, the last 10 minutes. In fact, on top of most things.
9 inside 50s to 4. They've just started to really tighten with territory football.
Lost it with a territory taker. A big clump of players at half-back. Taranto, force feeding Banks, who comes away. Wide eyes, trying to be creative for the Tigers. But again, they fall down. And again, Neal is amongst the swoopers. Handball back to Fletcher. Tempered the kick this time. The target was Hipwood. And he doesn't let him down.
Great kick. He could have easily blazed away there, Fletcher. He probably had that range in him, but saw an option that he liked, and it was a good lead by Hipwood out to the fat side, advantage side of his direct opponent in Vlossen, who's done a great job. But pretty hard to defend that when you've got space. You've got a player at full tilt and with the reach to be able to get highest point.
Charlie's back. And Eric Hipwood. Just the 4 disposals for the day so far, so he wants to get on the goal-kicking act. Kicked a memorable goal on grand final day. It's pretty comfortable by comparison. It's beyond 50.
Well, they're just drowning under this territory avalanche, aren't they? It was double the inside 50s in the first half, and it's worse than that already, 10-4 in the third quarter. And that's just making it impossible. And every time we see Richmond, this is a perfect example. They have control of the footy. So what can they do in transition? Look at the pressure from Brisbane. They're swarming, and eventually it's a floating hand pass that just allows a player to get closed down, and then they create the turnover.
Ben Miller back onto the ground after receiving some treatment down in the rooms.
Good news. He looks like looking to be in real trouble.
More third quarter frustrations for Adamuze. Hipwood has a rest, has a terrific record against the Tigers.
Charlie Cameron just did something extraordinary, which I'll tell you about next stoppage.
Out to 55. Richmond at least getting first look out of the middle. And Curvis plays it wide and plays it well. Green, eager to move it while there's a time. And they have some sort of equal numbers ahead of the ball. So taken by Dow. Now, how's he going to use it? Hoping that someone could leap up and take the mark. Green's handball was good, and the finish from Salty was almost better.
And they get to, so they've just kicked the goal, right? And Charlie Cameron's in the square, and his opponent Nathan Broad's next to him. So he puts his hand on his shoulder and starts doing some exercises, swinging his leg. You know how you do practice kicks in the air to warm your groin. Yeah, against Nathan Broad. He's using him as a prop to hold him up for his exercises.
Quick exit is a good exit. Ashcroft out wide to half forward today. He's got Morris tracking back towards the square. Well done, Miller. Limped back, got a fist to it.
It was really well done. To be in that position, and you practice this and you train it here.
Look at this. He's just leaning on him, saying, just stay there, I need to do some exercises. That's great.
The brotherhood. You just see the players keep looking after each other, don't they? I suppose it's not that difficult.
You want your opponent leaning on you, and you like that?
Just wait till I had the most weight on him and then just fall back.
He's just going to catch the top couple of inches of his head in the next contest on the lead.
Not 15, which
no one's heard it.
Shouldn't worry Will not too much. Brisbane into their ultra possession game here again. Just waiting for the setup for the right. Oh, from the side, Green. He just bounced back, Ashcroft. Leveraged it to his own advantage. Just fumble from Fletcher, a rarity today. Campbell took off. Got the link going with Ross. Floated it for Green. Will not trying to roll the interference. Tigers swarming forward. Armstrong to the man who was being tagged, but he was able to release it to Lawler. Campbell again involved in the procession. And the Tigers at last break through in this third term.
That qualifies as a red time goal. It's, we've moved into that last little bit after the 20-minute mark. However long is left in the quarter is seen as red time. So if we had a shot at Fags, I reckon he might just might have been concerned about where were my high backs and where were my mids. If there's anything that Brisbane haven't done real well, it's defend through their defensive mids.
Maybe not the best hand pass option from Harry Armstrong, but they got away with it. And they kicked the goal. They had the numbers.
They raffled it. And it wasn't. I think there was quite a few Brisbane midfielders with hands on hips watching back at their outnumbered defence, wondering thinking that's not coming back. So we'll just walk to the centre bounce.
And as he did in round one, Sam Lawler has 2 goals on the MCG. McCluggage to Dunkley. Brisbane out of there quickly. Archie. Will Ashcroft, knocked away by his own teammate, Rayner, who could see Hipwood was ready to pounce. Miller grits the teeth. McIntosh, Richmond surging again. Taranto, there's a clear path to goal. Lawler softened it beautifully. It was aimed up at Blight, who was still thinking what could have been for him, but fortunately it was settled not by his opponent. Instead, it's by Steely Green.
Yeah, Fags got a right to have it to question his leaders here. They were the wrong side of the ball then. They were that keen on getting in front of it and getting involved on the forward play that they had no balance behind the ball, and then when Richmond got the wrong side of the contest, they were away.
Steely Green coming here to the MCG today. Hasn't scored for the Tigers. And that one falls short. And not through for
It's not going to affect the result today, but it is about, okay, what are the basics? What are our disciplines? What do we want to hold ourselves accountable to?
It's a classic case of the midfielder saying, well, we've got this game. So now let's look to cruise. Yeah, exactly right.
Steely Green did clear a goal earlier today, but unfortunately wasn't able to that time. So Brisbane eventually get the X that they craved. Lovely kick from Fletcher to reveal. Systematically, they get beyond the wing today. And it's a relatively open forward 50, as you'd expect. Charlie Cameron's the deepest forward. Meantime, Archie leading up to the ball. Brown worries him out of it.
In terms of system, Sam Day's got himself to some really good spots. He's played his role. He's had 3 or 4 of the easiest touches you're ever going to have. But it's been because he's been in position and understood the system to be able to get there. Good sign for a big fella.
McInerney looks over his shoulder. The Nank was there to knock it forward. Hopper ran around it, but was able to control it. 3-man Curvis to McIntosh. Eventually settles on the floating handball to Hopper. Had no time at all. Kicks it forward. Armstrong tried to push and keep Leicester at bay. Couldn't do that. Fletcher through the middle to Berry. Again, eyes up. He had Day. He had grander plans. Bit of Charlie time, though. Cutting the angles nicely, as he's done for so many years as Floston.
He did well, Floston, because that would have been a perfect kick to Charlie Cameron on the lead.
Just eases out of defence. Tresice was always going to cop it, but he gets the free, so it's hard-earned and enjoyed from Tresice. 3 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Plants the foot, heads for Lynch. Payne, immovable at the moment. That's the best Lynch could manage.
He takes really good body position, Jack Payne. He's always happy to take that front spot. He'll back himself to be strong enough to hold it, and on that occasion, he's making it really hard. Tom Lynch has got to do something special, either jump over the top of him and take a big mark to beat him.
It's an excellent start to the year, Jack Payne. Coaches' votes last week. Done the job so far today on Lynch. Ashcroft. Now Dunkley. It's another big afternoon. His 25th disposal coming up. The 2-time premiership player. One with the Dogs and one with the Lions. Sort out McCluggage. 21st disposal coming up for Hugh.
Got an option in the middle.
Maybe a chance for a big mark. Free kick though for a shove. This time it is going to Sam Day.
He's got a good leg on him too. I wonder if he's got this journey in him.
Yet to kick a goal in his new colours.
Only had a couple of touches in the first half. He's had 4 or 5 in this third term, just starting to come into it a little bit more. You can see just helped under it with a couple of hands in the back.
5 games for 10 goals last year.
Set up kick.
Yep, set up kick instead for Hipwood.
Yeah, I think that was
his teammate Dunkley.
I think that was the option. I think he kicked it out in front of Hipwood to have a run and jump at it. And Dunkley nearly took the mark standing in front of the pack.
Hipwood take up residence in the goal square. Brisbane almost doubling Richmond here. Late in the third, McInerney fends it down. Rayner to Berry to Cameron, too quick for him. Next off the line was Zorko. Ashcroft has a good look. Oh no! That is incredible! Simply brilliant. Simply Will Ashcroft.
Gee, that's clever. I think he had a look in the middle and he didn't see any options. And if you do that, well, then you've got a right to try and fashion something. Didn't he do it well? Such a tight angle. Just want to make sure he does have a good look in the middle. I think he does. He does a couple of times. And the reason he can get away with that kick is because the square's open.
What about how Jace went up about the dribble kick? He loved it.
What about that? That is the best.
I loved it. Yeah, I love the fact he had a look in the middle. And then you're entitled to do that. It's a tight angle and there's no one in the goal square.
He already has a goal in the year, doesn't he, 2 years ago?
Yes.
I mean, he shows absolute high footy IQ and the ability to finish off in tight circumstances. It's nearly innate. It's not really. It's more doing than thinking, but he makes the right decision more often than not.
Best bouncer here at the G since Mitch Stark maybe last summer or Jasper Brumman. 54 points again between these two teams. Neil comes crashing down. Law the cause of it. Been a bit for the Richmond fans late in this term. With Lawler and now Armstrong.
Yeah, and he's continued to work. Armstrong, he presents. He's a good-looking type. Had an opportunity to kick one before he should have taken. Let's hope he butters up with this one.
So now he's going to try again.
Yeah, we spoke about how accurate Brisbane had been from set shots, and he needs to take a leaf out of that book.
Melbourne boy from Ormond Junior Footy Club on a raft of high picks. Still waiting to kick a goal. The punt road in. And to the Tigers fans' delight, he's done it.
A great reward for a bit of work rate. He's been able to work into the game really well, and good to be able to finish it after missing that first one. As we have a look at the Bunnings build up here, just really clean hands again, and pressure. Lockie Neal's had 31 touches. They haven't been able to get a hold of him too often, but that turnover again we've seen it so often, when you stick a really good tackle through the midfield, creates a really good attacking opportunity the other way, either way.
Good decision, Tim Taranto. Sometimes we get critical of players because they take the advantage when it's not an advantage. But he was able to release a player that could then deliver it inside 50 quickly and catch the Brisbane defence snapping.
Just technically, would you straighten his drop arm there, Jason? You've got to try and get that closer to the foot, don't you?
It's not a very technically sound one, but it might be one of those that he's been doing too long to change.
It's always that thing about balancing what's natural with what we know works is effective, but yeah, that'll happen over the next couple of years.
Ooh, some big bags and under 18s. A late opportunity for the Tigers. Lynch, can he get ball to boot in time? He can, the hands. Harris got it again.
Well, and Harris Andrews is not happy. He is not happy. And that's the first time we've seen Bruce miss a target, I think. He's normally such a beautiful kick.
Well, they've kicked 5 of their 8 goals in red time. This is for 6 of 9. And the coach put it on the table at half-time, and it hasn't seemed to have improved. They've already got 2.
Why didn't we get a cutaway of Fags just as the siren's going and they're lining up for a shot?
He doesn't get that angry, that's why.
To go again, Harry Armstrong. 2 goals in a minute.
Yes.
Chris Fagan seeing red. Richmond fans are just seeing the future. Tigers with a couple of late ones. Cut the margin to 42. Much better finish to the third quarter this week than last. Still one to go for these young Tigers. Brisbane on their way to remain undefeated. We're back for the final term at the G next.
All right, there we go. A couple of late goals to the Tigers. Makes their score look a little bit more respectable. 42 points the margin, 3/4 time. Lions doing well, but I tell you what, I do like a few of the things that the Tigers are doing. I think come the end of the year, they might just have a few wins on the board, looking the way they're playing. All right, let's just jump across now. We'll have a look. Well, the Tigers, there we go, 2 goals, 4 in that third term. Of course, the Lions, though, 6 goals, 2. 6 goals, 2. They probably won't be too happy letting those last 2 goals slip, but I think they're pretty much in cruise mode. They're just playing the game as they go along, the Lions. But a good game all in what we're seeing out there today. All right, let's just jump back into the stats, folks. Let's have a look at the goal scorer. Zach Bailey still tops it with 3. For the Brisbane Lions, Logan Morris with 2. Charlie Cameron, Will Ashcroft with 2. Harry, I was going to say, Will Ashcroft could be in the contender for goal of the year. Did a beautiful dribble from about 25 out on the boundary, straight through the sticks, couple of bounces, and thank you very much. Goal of the year contender, Will Ashcroft. There we go. Bruce Revel, Hugh McCluggage, Eric Hipwood's got 1, Jasper Fletcher's got 1, Jared Berry's got 1, Levi Ashcroft's got 1, Callum Achee's got 1. Plenty of goal scorers there. But the Brisbane Lions, the Tigers, Sam Laylor, Seth Campbell, Harry Armstrong, all of 2, kicking the last 2 of the third term. Tim Taranto's got 1 with Steely Green. Sam Banks, there you goal scorers up until 3/4 times, folks. Let's have a look at Lockie Neal. He was doing well up until half time, wasn't he? And he's extended that. The only one in the 30s for the disposal count. He's on 31. He's having a good game. 13 kicks, 18 handballs, a mark, 3 tackles, 4 clearances. Doing really good. Good to see Tim Taranto there for the Tigers, up to 25. He's having a nice game. Will Ashcroft, what can you say? He's a gun. 21 for the Brisbane Lions. He's had 14 kicks, 7 handballs. Kicked a couple of sausage rolls there. Zorko up to 17. Luke Trainer, he's up to 18 there for the Tigers, going nicely as well. Jack Payne, up to 13 possessions, 10 kicks, 3 handballs, 6 marks. He's doing a number on Richmond's forward. Let's just roll on down there because we're just about back. Oscar McInerney, the big man, 8 disposals, 28 hit-outs, 3 clearances. He's having a good game, the big man. And, of course, Tom Lynch was the one I was referring to. Payne is doing a number on for the Tigers. Tommy Lynch, he's just had the 3 disposals, 2 kicks, a handball, 1 behind, but he did put a nice little pass in there, of course, to, I'm just trying to think of his name. There we go, to Harry Armstrong, who slotted the goal. So it was a nice goal assist there from Lynchy. We're only a couple of minutes out from the third quarter. So it should be a good game for the rest of the game. Of course, Richmond are going to continue. Look, Richmond aren't going to... We know Richmond won't win this game, like Ben was saying. But, you know, it's all about getting their structures right, their gameplay working, connecting with each other, learning how each other play. Because there was a few new players coming in and a lot of their seasoned players going out. So I think Richmond are actually doing quite well at the moment. As I said, I think Richmond will definitely have... a few wins by the end of the season. Brisbane Lions, though, they're just doing their merry way. They're a classy team. And Brisbane are doing, well, what Brisbane do. All right, folks, let's get back down to the... Don't forget, you can put in a poll if you want who's going to win. 62% said the Brisbane Lions. Of course, we've got a few Tiger fans in here this afternoon. We will have another game coming up straight after this one in just a little over an hour's time. That's North Melbourne and the Sydney Swans. If you follow those two teams, come along, listen to the broadcast. We'll show you some stats, etc. along the way. Should be good. All right, that's enough. Let's get back down to the ground. They'll take us into the final quarter, whereas the Lions by 42 points.
+2, +3 outnumber going back the other way, and it's understandable that they can happen late in games. It's not going to affect the result today, but it is something that you want to keep an eye on as a coach so that you're doing the fundamentals well all the time.
But pleasing, conversely, for Adamuzo, because they'd conceded 5 in a row, and they then kicked 3 of the last 4 of that quarter just to get back a little momentum and give them a bit of hope and say, when we persist, when we do the right things, we get the reward.
So last quarter, Tigers looking to continue that late momentum from the third term. Brisbane, no doubt, will still have the coach's words ringing in their ears. Van Curvis has the energy to leap up, tap it, and still follow things up. Squeeze out a hand pass. And Taranto and Short collaborate. Eventually, it goes to centre half forward. Ross worked under the ball. The hands were good from Green. Stumble from McIntosh. Not timely, but I don't think Harris Andrews was expecting that. Good tackle from Ross.
I don't think you doubt Richmond's effort and intent and physicality and pressure. It's been pretty consistent across the game.
And so is that man Lockie Neal. His 32nd disposal.
One thing I love from Harris Andrews, in a situation like that, he never lets the ball come out.
No.
He just rides the tackle and says, let's have a stoppage and reset.
Even Neal couldn't collect that time. Ross was able to, but his hand pass goes to a determined Hipwood, who turned through the middle like he knew exactly where he was going to place the ball. It turned out that he probably didn't. Precise. Knocked forward by Dunkley. Issues there for Trainer. Dunkley again takes the territory. Cameron has a couple of mates nearby. The ball bouncing Richmond's way, though, to Broad. Precise eventually got it under control. Banks can leg it out of there. Gets away from Reville. Puts plenty on the kick to Ross. Ranging out across half forward. Lynch is back in the goal square. Doesn't really make a decisive move. Blight flies. From the back came Payne. At the front, it was Campbell working in with Steely Green to the line. Crowd hold their breath. The ball hangs and sits. And Payne just taps it through. Tap, tap.
A lot of the scoring this quarter is going to come down to who wins it in tight, because it seems that once you win that possession out of contest and go forward, you're going to find an outnumber either way.
Creative kick in. Went quickly to Fletcher and then to Zorko. They were at half forward, but Miller staunch as ever. Back into Short. Has some run from behind, so he can use this framework to get back and out the other side. Brisbane will know that's on, so they cover it up and force a retreat back to that southern side. Banks down low. What next? There are multiple leads, but nothing that is going to convince him. So long down the line, then Curvis and McInerney in the frame. The big O to McCluggage. Great depth on the kick for Archie. Had Charlie for the little short one. He had no real opposition and fumbled the mark.
I don't think he realised that his opponent had fallen over and Nathan Broad.
He's normally the U-turns and he's off, isn't he? He did that so often early in his career. But
I think he was expecting contact when he took the mark, and he fumbled it a bit and was relieved when he got the second grab turned around and realised his opponent was on the deck.
Happy to take the set shot.
44 goals last year in 27 games. 1 goal, 2 on grand final day. Already has a couple today, and you can chalk up a third. Chip is steadied by Charlie Cameron.
Sort of contest there in the ruckman. Feels like it's been a bit of a nil-all draw with McInerney and Nankervis today. They haven't had a huge impact on the game, and probably because it's been so open. It's been the runners, the midfielders, high forwards who have been able to lengthen and get out the back. There hasn't been as much contested footy where they've been required down the line like this. But great, that's a great kick to Archie, which opens it up.
So the smalls, Cameron and Bailey, small to mediums at least, 3 goals each.
That's the kick I'd love to see Charlie Cameron get a lot more. Instead of doubling back to goal, looking for the one over the top, to stop, prop and come back at the player with the ball. And Archie will tell him that that's the easiest kick to hit, is just a little 15-metre chip straight out in front.
Game 231 for Charlie Cameron. 1947. Toronto leads the way for Richmond with 27 disposals. 6 clearances. Lucky Neal 32 and Dunkley 26. You make it 33 now. Wilmot. Short. A relatively kind bounce and then promptly dropped it onto his knee. Still kept it in. He was almost strangled. So if it's not too high, it'd have to be holding the ball, surely.
It looked high to me.
That guy says it's too high.
Depends what colours you're wearing, right?
It usually does have some sort of influence. It's a bit of a calamity, the whole thing. Rayner. Archie. Somehow Cameron doesn't take the mark. Somehow Richmond win the ball back. Boston with a get me out of there kick. Had some direction on it to Green, who has to use his best manoeuvres and his best speed, and it is express out of defence to come away cleanly. And the Tiger fans like that. Lynch makes himself useful. Wide out on the wing. Players spread across the MCG. Should be some options for him. It's just a matter of how aggressive he wants to be.
Apparently Green is the fastest player in Richmond, less than Zorks.
He just destroyed Zork over there, didn't he?
Let it go.
He turned him, bounced, and Dave Zork said, well, I can't catch him. So I'll just start jogging back.
Floats it high, little directionless. Leicester. Payne. Fletcher.
Great.
Tipple.
His kicking's been exceptional today, Fletcher. His choice of hand, foot, the target that he's going for when he's taking his yards by and driving his legs.
Career high day too for Jasper Fletcher with 22 disposals. First time into the 20s. McCluggage. Long on the kick towards Dunkley. The pack comes crashing down. And we head down as well to Sarah.
Both teams have made their subs. The Tigers, McIntosh is off, Bauer is on, and for the Brisbane Lions, Logan Morris is off. That's a tactical substitution. Will McLaughlin is on.
Thank you, Jonesy. Good that he's keeping his headband on down there, even though he's done for the day. Will McLaughlin will kick a couple of goals on debut. The action from Colac.
Camden's obviously going black for a home game, yellow for an away. It's an excellent fashion choice.
Colour-coded. Morris takes the mark in the pocket.
And Morris is the one coming off, right? Is that what Sarah just told us?
Yeah, Morris off tactically.
Okay, he's having a shot at goal, Sarah. We'll just wait for him to get off after this.
So this is taking, if he kicks a goal, this is taking his modern
tactically, he might stay.
You kick a goal, and then you suck off.
Lining up his third.
For his third. No.
This is going to be a repeat of Marby or Chol. He's probably to stay out there and just ignore the runner if he has
He
a
doesn't want to come off, guys.
Just stay on that
I
pocket.
think you're onto something, Sarah.
No, having said that, his best way of staying out there was kicking the goal, not kicking it out before.
Well, no, he's on the far side of the field. A centre bounce would have got him off the pitch.
Get off.
Smart.
All he can do is laugh. Broad takes off boldly. Probably not expected. Hipwood, who was standing on the mark, takes off in pursuit because Richmond are trying to stream forward. He might have just stretched the friendship by going wide. Cruel bounce for Smith. Good tackle from Miller to keep the damage contained. And we have a ball up to take place here at left half forward for the Lions. Day doing the ruck work on his own. Made the most of it. Spiked it 20 metres high and long. And it goes Richmond's way. Short, broad. And then Sonsi slaps it out for everyone to have a run on the chase. Andrews seemed to have Armstrong covered. Armstrong stuck at it. And it's holding the ball, even though the tackle really wasn't completed.
Well, he was still hanging on, I think, is what the umpires decided. And I don't mind that.
No, I don't like it.
Otherwise, you've got to be throwing players to the ground to stop them getting it away, Bucks.
Don't like it, Bucks.
If you
Here we go, hang on, Lynch.
assess the ball.
Lawler Tigers trying to go baseline. Was that high? It was.
And there was a bit of head contact there on the ground as well. I'm glad that he didn't have any negative effects. But yeah, it's marginal. And that's probably what Luke Beveridge was talking about during the week. It's difficult for the players to work out exactly what's going on.
Steely Green improves the angle, finishes off the work.
They're starting to put together a group of small forwards that look damaging. Brisbane are going to win this game and win it well, but the signs for Richmond, if I'm a Tigers supporter, I can see some stuff. I mean, Armstrong just goes at the body.
So he's got a hold of him all the way through.
He hasn't
At the end, he lets go, but the umpire's blowing the whistle by then.
It's a great what's your decision for raising rate.
Yeah.
We might continue this sort of off air, I think.
I can confirm, guys, Logan Morris has finally made his way off the ground. He sat down in the front row and then was given a nod, no, you're headed to the back row, and putting on the T-shirt as the substitute off. So Will McLaughlin on now officially.
I thought you read that really well, Sarah. Like
Nostradamus.
To know that he was the one.
Yeah.
A few words between coach and player. I'm not sure he was thrilled. He wasn't thrilled about coming off, I don't think.
Ashcroft to Wilmot, who's had the day. He's 19th. Oh, disposal, long kick. Straight away, McLaughlin leaping the pack. That pass comes out today. He sends it deep. Archie just waiting for it to get through the cracks, but well guarded by Smith.
You can definitely see the fresh legs when they come on early in the season. I mean, any time of the season, but especially early. As you see, everyone else is sort of chugging it out a little bit, and then the fresh legs and Sonzi and McLaughlin came on, and Bauer and McLaughlin, and they're away.
Fletcher caught in the crush that time. Lawler to Dow, tried to create something. Instead, it's tumbling end on end forward for Armstrong again as he got the energy to keep it in. Able to work it back to Tresice. And then nifty hands to Sonsi, who had a target deep, and here he is showing the leap that we've seen him possessing Bauer. And he comes out and takes the mark.
Nifty little hands to each other to create space, bit of legs to be able to run and find the space. And then Sonsi, with a couple of steps to make a call, was able to hit Bauer, who'd got out the back of his direct opponent, just as Armstrong had with Andrews. As soon as they were offside, Richmond, they looked damaging.
So the sub's not getting much game time. Desperate to make the most of it. And Bauer.
Love him. He wears his heart in his sleeve.
Yeah, he rode that one all the way to the post.
I know there's going to be some up and down performances throughout the year, but I just feel like when you watch today, if you're a Richmond supporter, I think Adamuse and the team that they're putting together is giving you enough confidence that there is some good promise for the future.
Absolutely.
That'll be 50. We're in the guilty party. Led by Ashcroft.
Brother to brother.
Couldn't ignore the brother, even if he wanted to. From the younger to older, he had a look back, and now he kicks. Precise. Everyone else was held at bay. To switch it across, but decided the danger was too great. Leaps into the kick, down to Lynch. Here's Lawler again. More to get excited about. Short, probing ball, back there for Fletcher. Bit of front-on contact.
Richmond's sort of shape is nuisance value for Brisbane. As soon as the edge has come off Brisbane's game, Richmond look like they're thereabouts and that they're actually in the arm wrestle against the best team in the comp.
Raider keeps on coming. McLaughlin! Oh. Surely there was high contact there. Still got boot to ball.
Gee, it looked unlucky. I love the way he competes though.
Yes.
Been to the Nationals as a junior as a high jumper, so we're seeing examples of that, his athletic traits. Halfway through the final turn. Kick depositor on the wing. Andrews the spoil. Campbell trying to craft a kick to the advantage of Armstrong. Lopes after it, picks it up. Gave it off to Lawler. Hopes rise for the Tigers again. Spearing ball for Lynch, who decided that it was going to reach him and didn't come any further forward, but must have been line balls, whether he scooped it up above the damp turf.
It's interesting, as he turned, his back would have been to the officiating umpire in the middle of the ground, and there's another umpire that had full access to see whether it hit the ground or not, but he's not the one that made the decision. Definitely gets under it.
Got under it nicely.
He's looked good. The Tigers have kept their shape.
Room to manoeuvre this afternoon at all. Just one behind so far in his previous set shot. Got a better look at the goals this time, and he makes no mistake. Cheered through by the Tiger faithful.
5 years is a long time in football.
Jason Margent back to 36.
And Tom Lynch is one of only 8 players that is still in this team from the 2020 Grand Final. In the glory days of Richmond, which they're hoping to return to, as you can see there, and still a smattering of experience in the 2025 version of that team, with a lot of young guys that are having a real crack. And as you said, you'd be relatively impressed with what you've seen. They've had a real go. There's been some structure, some signs down back, some signs through the middle and up forward. A long way to go, but they've been competitive.
They've put on nearly 80 points against one of the best teams in the comp. That's a positive in itself.
Bolter today. There's the 7th and 8th names not there. Ashcross free out of the middle. 186 at 36 points at the moment. Ashcroft gets it moving. McInerney was the prime target. Light's hands were good, and Hopper, slight double grab from Sonsi invited Cameron's tackle, and Charlie's pleading for the free. I think he was riding the 4th at Caulfield.
I think they're playing it the right way. They're not putting a number behind the ball. They're not trying to protect their back 6. They're just trying to play the game the right way, and they actually look like they're running this game out really well.
Running the gauntlet here. That was a throw. Precise. Not the place for it, really.
He wanted to quickly get it to his teammate, and he needed to slap it, not push it. Charlie just telling him how to kick it.
Rather forcefully told to get himself out of there so McCluggage could run around, follow instructions, and kick a steadier for the Lions.
He kicked it 10 metres further out than he needed to. If he was going to do that, he could have easily gone another 10 metres towards the man on the mark, but class oozing out of this man, and he was able to finish it without a problem. And this is what happens when you're sort of running back towards your goal. You weren't able to hit, Tom Brown hit that and missed that target, and then it was just...
He caught it and pushed it, didn't he?
That was a mind blank, that one.
To be a hit, not a push. 25 and 2 goals for Hugh McCluggage. It's not a bad afternoon.
Yeah, some big numbers for the Lions boys.
5 clearances as well, 9 score involvements.
They've overcome most of those hoodoos that they had to. And Chris Fagan took over. One of them was playing well here at the MCG. One of them was beating Richmond at the MCG, something they haven't done since 2009. But they're the games to come against Hawthorn and Collingwood. Richmond, meantime, still think there's time and space for more goals. One faulty handball lets them down there. They may take possession all the way out of the middle.
So that was only one handball from being able to finish. They're running this game out strongly.
4 multiple goal kickers: Armstrong, Lawler, Campbell, and Steely Green, all with 2. That's for the Tigers. Attacking here, Lawler.
One thing you've got to say, Bucks, is they've scored 21 times from 34 inside 50s. That's an extraordinary conversion rate against what's a very well-recognised defence. way above competition average.
Sorry, Jace Lawler up to 20 disposals.
He's looked good, hasn't he?
Yeah, new career high for him. He had 18 in round 1.
I think we're going to see a lot of career highs for him as we go along in the early stage. He's going to keep improving.
One thing that he has shown, I mean, he's had 6 and 14 out of that 20. But the ability he has to win the ball inside and to put teammates in open space is excellent. But he's a good kick as well.
It wasn't easy for Wilmot, but he was able to wriggle his way out of there. And Neil, Reville. 1-on-1. Day versus Miller. McLaughlin's hands were quick and creative. He'll get it back again from Berry and Ashcroft. Charlie demands it. Doesn't arrive quite in the parcelled-up fashion he might have been thinking. And instead it's O'Reilly veteran Nathan Broad who kicks and takes off. He wants to be involved again. Saucy delays his release and Broad frustratingly has to run back to defence. Lynch, meantime, pops it off the top of the pack, gives it to Taranto. He had the urge to keep it moving quickly, but nothing really to his liking. Hard run from Banks. Good run from Banks. Productive run from Banks.
He'd be disappointed, Chris Fagan. He's just seeing a little bit of sloppiness creep in. They had a 3-on-1 on Tom Lynch. They weren't able to spoil or intercept Mark, and in the end the ball just fell back in the hands of Tom Lynch, who was able to find a teammate. So he'd be a little bit disappointed with that.
2-2 each in this final term. Banks looking to kick his second and become the 5th multiple goal kicker for the Tigers.
Yeah, the Lions have well and truly done enough to win, but it's glass half full, half empty. We'll have a look at it and there'll be plenty of things that they'd love to improve. They will have led from go to woe in this, but they've got sloppy at times late in quarters and throughout this last quarter. And Richmond have played a more solid, efficient brand of football in the last 20 minutes than the Lions have.
You mentioned 5 multiple goal kickers, Hutto, but look at the 5 names. It's Lawler, it's Campbell, it's Green, it's Banks, and it's Armstrong. 5 of the youngest players they've got going around. That is just a fantastic result for the Tigers.
Another Tassie boy for the Tigers, along with the captain, of course, Seth Campbell. Meantime, Neil straight into action out of the middle. McCluggage kicked it and tumbled as the kick went forward and beautifully handled in the air by Foster.
And the Richmond back 6 has bested the Lions front 6 in that time. So they've been able to, they've given up a few inside 50s, but they've been able to turn it around and turn that into offence. It's 10-6 the Lions' way this quarter.
Brown. Now Broad. Martin sits at 36. Gradually they get out of the defensive half of the ground. Lawler. I think the kick was designed for Banks, but it was well read by Andrews. He left some crumbs behind. Far from perfect, the Tigers. Then in the end they threatened to turn the ball over, although turned back by Smith, but straight to Levi Ashcroft. All it does is give Neil and Zorko more opportunities to get involved. Not 15, which was used to Dunkley, got clobbered. And then the ball is forced over and out. We'll have a throw-in.
Out the ball, just off the foot of Reville.
Yes.
Just getting a little bit sloppy late, the Lions.
It's like country footy. You hang around behind the goals. I reckon I'll get caught.
Yeah.
Under 5 minutes remaining, and out comes Harris Andrews. So let's see how the red time goes late in the game.
Play on, not 15, play on.
Not 15 wasn't ideal for Leicester, just arts the back when required. Lockie has another disposal, that's 39. Andrews tries to spear it to Reville and missed by a couple of metres.
All getting lazy and sloppy late. You just see the efforts just dropped off from the Lions.
Lockie Harris didn't have a crack at him in that third quarter because then he had the chance for some back chat. Up and under from Smith. Armstrong. Straight away, saw he had that opportunity to take a late mark. He can't stand up, but he got the handball away to Banks. Leaping that time down there was Bauer. He's not only two, he's still got spring in his step.
He's got the cramp going.
Yeah.
He needs help for a teammate.
Armstrong's going to hop off the ground if he can at the top of your screen. Richmond fans are trying to cheer him off. The reach from McInerney, snap from Taranto was wiped out. Ross and Neil sensing a chance to get another possession. His 40th was one of his most creative of the day, but now Miller's limping.
They're really controlling things, the Tigers, the last 5 minutes. Controlling the flow of the ball, movement, territory.
Slice again, quickly onto the left. Just enough distance and correct weighting. Hopper is beyond him. Sets it up for a lead. Denied. Short-circuited well by Leicester. Neil again gets involved. Bailey just takes the territory and hope it stays in. Who's still got the will and the want to get there? Nathan Broad threatened to play it back, but instead realises there is a way to go straight ahead. Miller off to Smith. Down the line, that's clever. Ross. Took the extra step, just crafted the kick and full stretch. Good effort from Blight to come out and take the mark.
Well, Brisbane are winning clearances by 12-2. So if it wasn't for that, Richmond would be absolutely dominating this quarter. It's 3-3 to 2-2 for the quarter, and this looks like being Richmond's fourth goal for the quarter.
They're either tired or the efforts just dropped way off from Brisbane. But I love that Richmond are playing this right out to the final siren.
Been a quiet day for him overall, but his 10th disposal was a good one. He's had to keep Andrews occupied, and that man is a bit grumpy, isn't he, Chris Fagan?
Well, they've had the ball 20 more times this quarter, and, dare we say it, another 2 red time goals, so that's 8 of how many they got?
Still, the fact is they're working harder. They're working considerably harder than the Lions are at the back end of this match, and these are positives that they can take into next week. They're growing as a young team. Ability to fight out games when you're a young team and to fight it right out and not just let the landslide happen is a really good trait to have.
It's bittersweet. You want to win games of footy, there's no doubt. It doesn't matter if you're a supporter, player, coach, you want to win games of footy. You're not going to win every game you play, especially in the position that Richmond find themselves in. But to run Brisbane today to 5 goals and the way that they've gone about it, there's a lot of positives to take from it.
4 goals to 2 in the final term, and they're off to the Barossa next week as part of Gather Round. Waller continuing his education around the footy. Brisbane able to steal it back this time. Fluky ball goes forward. Brown knocked it to the voice of Broad. He's been instrumental in that soundness of their defence today. Boston to Sotzi out on the wing.
Sim Broad got that ball and kicked it out to his teammate. Here's Lawler. Lawler gets a free kick there, and he gave Tom Brown the clap in terms of great stuff, knocking it back. That's how we want to go about it. That's how we want to play. Reinforcing the right behaviours and what they've discussed and what they want to be judged on when they get to review.
So very patient and effective build-up. And Sonsi creeps forward to take the mark. Been able to kick a goal today. Got behind early on. It's time to really think about this. In the last minute. And so much to enjoy in this last quarter for Richmond fans. That one, though, is floating through for a behind.
They haven't threatened Brisbane, per se, in terms of winning the game, but as a Tigers supporter sitting here, I think you'd be pretty pleased with what you're seeing. The effort's been fantastic. It's the reigning premier, and they just continue to work for the full 4 quarters. And that's that's an effort that young teams can often find very difficult.
Well, since going down 55 points at the 22 mark of the third quarter, they're 7 goals to 4 up, 7 goals to 3 up. So that's a fair way to finish a game in the last 40 minutes.
A little bit of keepings off to finish matters here at the MCG for Brisbane. Although we might have a shot for goal. Well, where's Blight? Because he's the only player who can kick a goal after the siren from that far out. Flosted instead. Maybe there's time for a mark.
He's marked that.
Yes.
Well, Jacob Bauer has a record of kicking goals after the siren to win games. That was been in the VFL. And this is obviously the AFL, and it's not to win the game. But it's just to annoy the Brisbane coaching team.
I'd like to be in the rooms in Brisbane post-game. I reckon he'll have a few things to say, Chris Fagan. That's a great contested mark. And they deserve another goal.
So he's had to sit and watch for most of the day as the sub, Jacob Bauer, but he can jump, he can mark. And after the siren, he misses.
A little bit dirty. Had 2 points there, 2 really easy, well not easy, but gettable set shots in the last quarter.
So the reigning premiers return to the scene of last year's triumph, and they walk away undefeated after 4 rounds. But it was far from the complete performance, but at the end of the day, they still have not been beaten.
No, they've done the job, and the usual suspects performed well. Lockie Neal chalked up 42 possessions. See Charlie Cameron there having a chat. He only had half a dozen possessions. He managed to turn it into a 3-goal performance. As I said before, they were never seriously threatened, but they didn't have everything their own way. To have a young team like Richmond score 90 points against them, there'll be a few things discussed post-game for the Lions. But what we do know is they've got years to work through, and isn't that great seeing Lockie Neal talking to young Sam Lawler, just having a chat there. Experience and youth coming together.
Well, they had 3 of the top 5 players in the field in Lawler, Campbell and Hopper. Richmond, amongst all of their young blokes that were able to hit the scoreboard. Brisbane did what they needed to do, but it just shows you how important attitude and effort is to any team, no matter how much talent or where you find yourself in terms of depth charts, etc., to be able to get the result.
Let's get down to Jonesy.
Thank you very much, guys. I've got Will Ashcroft with me. Will, back at the scene of your greatest triumph as a player, of course, Norm Smith medal and grand final, the first time back at the G. Does it kind of bring back great memories and getting the win today?
Yeah, absolutely it does. Yeah, first of all, the win today was huge. We fought hard and we came away with the result. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I was even reflecting with a few of the boys, like in the same hotel room overlooking the G last night, and sort of the first time I've been back since the grand final, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, obviously we're doing better things this year.
And this campaign, you've made such a wonderful start to it, undefeated so far. How different is it to this time last year when the pressure was really on and those wins just weren't coming?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's nice to start this way. We know it's a long year and a lot of football left. Yeah, it's nice to not be in that hole we were last year, and yeah, we'll just keep reviewing each game as it is and keep building towards week on week.
Kicked a couple of goals today. One of them in particular from the boundary line was quite spectacular. You've already won a goal of the year. Do you reckon this one's another contender?
Not too sure. A couple of boys were saying to me at 3/4 time, but no, I'm not sure if this was on the same calibre as that one. But no, it was nice to hit the scoreboard and get that one.
What about playing with your brother? The amount of times you guys were waxing today, I don't know. I'll be interested to see the stats afterwards. But you've obviously got that innate synergy. Do you just feel so comfortable with him out there in the middle? Yeah, we do. I've said all throughout his draft campaign, and when he got drafted, that some of my most enjoyable football was playing with him at the Sandy Dragons here in Melbourne in my draft year. So yeah, it's pretty cool to play alongside him, and it's cool to wax him a little bit here and there, and it's pretty cool. A lot to like out of today's performance, a really solid win, but there's a couple of things you get the feeling Fags won't be too happy with. A lot of red time goals from Richmond. What do you expect his reaction to be? Those things that need sharpening up. Yeah, that was one of the things. I think every game so far we've had some okay performances, but just patches where we've been a little bit off in vastly, a lot of different areas. So we'll definitely review that as a club and get to work next week. Gather round coming up next. Are you ready for a big trip to Adelaide? Yeah, can't wait. It's always a good time. I missed last year with my knee, so I really enjoyed it in my first year. So yeah, can't wait to get to Adelaide and play the Dogs. Congratulations. Well, great to see you light up the MCG once again. Perfect. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
You are watching Super Saturday Live on Fox, brought to you by Toyota. Footy's back. Oh, what a feeling. David King, Jack Rewalt. Positive signs for Richmond this afternoon, but it's another 4 points in the bag for the Brisbane Lions and Chris Fagan, and they remain undefeated.
Brilliant at stoppages with the Lions today, and in a lot of ways they just phoned it in, really. They put the game to bed early and then they said, OK, that'll do us. And they backed off, gave Richmond some luxuries. And it was good to see the Tigers able to capitalise on a few of those opportunities.
Yeah, it was, and obviously for Richmond supporters this year, they're always going to be looking at the young shoots coming through and those sort of green shoots. Sam Lawler today, 24, 2 goals. He showed his worth as the number one draft pick, and young Harry Armstrong kicks 2 goals again. I don't reckon Chris Fagan to be that rapt about the performance from the Lions today. I reckon there's probably more work-ons than positives today for Brisbane.
We'll delve into that in our Saturday night debrief, but let's celebrate Will Ashcroft. It was so great to hear from him with Sarah just then, and that goal that they touched on, Will, that is our BP ultimate performance. Take it away, Jack.
It is. It's probably the best goal we've seen from this pocket this year. Isaac Rankin kicked the beauty on the run a couple of weeks ago, but Will Ashcroft, off the back of obviously winning the Norm medal last year, he's our BP performance player, and he meant to do this, and we were watching it upstairs, and a nice little flick out, kick the goal, and it's a celebration that caught our eye as well. And in the world of celebrations that we live in currently with young players in the AFL, it was pretty nonchalant from Will Ashcroft, but workmanlike again from him. 24 touches, 2 goals. He's been a pivotal part of that Brisbane midfield, and obviously a pivotal part of their grand final victory last year, but there you can see this little nod.
I think the subtle celebration made it even better.
You like it?
I do like the subtle celebration.
No, I don't like it.
You want a real
More than that. He's a goal from the boundary. It's a bit of something.
He's a humble kid. I'm not sure he's going to give you that zhuzh you're after. So Brisbane Lions, their attention turns to the Western Bulldogs at Nord Oval next Saturday. So that is going to be one of the games that gather round, won't it?
Yeah, I love watching the Lions play. The way they play is, they play the beautiful game, really. Their ball movement out of the back line's terrific, and it was on show early. They got to that almost 10-goal lead and they just took the foot off the pedal. It is good to see Lawler, as you talk about, with the favourite for the Rising Star now. He's the second highest rated player on the field today. So in a loss, 5-goal loss in the end, it's a very promising performance.
A lot of positives for the Tiger Army. We're going to discuss the thriller on the Gold Coast next, the game of the season so far, if you missed it. And then we're also going to head to Marvel Stadium. It is Saturday night football under the lid between North Melbourne and the Sydney Swans. Can these Roos take advantage of the injury-depleted Swans? We're going to find out next.
All right, folks, there we go. It was all the Brisbane Lions today, but take nothing away from the mighty Richmond Tigers. They were pretty good, I must say. Very impressive with the Tigers, even though they lost. It's only a 28-point margin, so they'll be very pleased. And, of course, 4 goals for the Tigers put on in that final term. 2 goals to the Lions, the Tigers winning the final quarter. So they've got a fair bit to take out of this game and, of course, that final quarter, which they will be very, very happy with. We've got another game coming up in just about half an hour's time, and, of course, that is North Melbourne and Sydney Swans, if you want to check on out that. But the next game for these two teams, let me just double check. Next week, next Saturday, we've got the Western Bulldogs taking on the Brisbane Lions, of course, gather round over there at Nord Oval. And, of course, following next Sunday, another big match. This will be a good match coming up for Tiger supporters. Richmond are playing Fremantle, Barossa Park, over there in Adelaide as well. That's going to be an absolute cracker of a game. Fremantle having to travel. Well, I suppose the Tigers travel a little bit, but it's a neutral ground, so it could be a game that the Richmond Tigers might surprise. Who knows? Who knows? There we go. Let's have a quick look at the goal scorers and disposal getters. Let me just load up on this, just in case you're following that. Hang on. Let me go to the AFL fantasy points first. Hugh McCluggage, 141. Josh Dankley, 116. Lockie Neal, 115. Will Ashcroft, 105. They're your top few. The goal scorers, Charlie Cameron and Zach Bailey top the table with 3 each for the Lions. Logan Morris, Hugh McCluggage, Will Ashcroft, all with 2. And, of course, singles to Bruce Revel, Eric Hipwood Jasper Fletcher and Jared Berry and Levi Ashcroft and Callum Achee. There was a lot of goal scorers there for Brisbane. For the Tigers, though, we had a few multiple goal scorers, which was great to see. Sam Layla, Steely Green, Seth Campbell, Sam Banks, Harley Armstrong, all 2 goals for the Tigers. Of course, single goal scorers were Tim Taranto, Tom Lynch, Jacob Blight. They were the goal scorers for Richmond. Lockie Neal, we sort of predicted this at half time. We thought maybe he might get the 40, and he certainly did that. He ended up with 42, did Lockie Neal. 15 kicks, 27 handballs, 1 mark, 4 tackles, 8 clearances. I'll tell you what, he's hard to stop, isn't he? Jacob Hopper, next best for the Tigers on 32. Another good game from him. 11 and 21. Josh Dunkley on 30. We'll just roll down there in case you're looking for your player. You can see who you got. Jack Payne actually did a fantastic job down back there for the Lions. 17 touches. He kept Lynch very, very quiet down there for the Tigers. Their spearhead down the forward. Who else have we got there? Oscar McInerney ended up with 36 hitouts with 11 touches. Another solid game from him. Sam Day with 9. And there we go. Tom Lynch, as I was saying, just the 7 possessions, 1 goal, 1. Team stats, there we go. There was only 12 in it at the end by the Brisbane. Handball's pretty even. Kicks pretty even. Inside 50s, if we have a look, there we go. 50% more to the Lions. Richmond went inside 50, 40 times for 25 scoring shots. That is fantastic effort. Of course, 60 inside, 50s for the Lions for 28 scoring shots. Disposal efficiency around the ground, pretty good for both teams at 72 and 76. Efficiency inside 50, that's fantastic. 57.5 for the Tigers. Free kicks, only 4 the difference. Yeah, not a great deal there. Nothing changed in the scoreline there. Hitouts, not too much in that, just 9 to the Lions. And 12 clearances in front of the Lions. The centre clearances, though, the Tigers probably need to work on that, but Brisbane certainly do have that gun midfield. 8 to 17 stoppage clearances. It was the Lions just by 3. Contested, pretty similar. Richmond worked into the game a little bit more. Uncontested, only by 18 there, plus to the Lions. The marks, well, as you can see, if you're a Richmond supporter, everything sort of stacks up. It's just that Brisbane knows how to work the ball a little bit better than that. Tackles, Brisbane leading the way by 20, and really high tackle number there for Brisbane inside 50 and 13, just the 2 for the Tigers. But that's today's game, folks. That is today's game from the MCG, where it was the Lions 28-point winners over Richmond, 18-10, 118 to 13-12-90. Tell you what, Richmond did well, scoring 90 points against a great outfit like the Lions. But that's all I've got for everyone out there for this game. We did have a poll in. Now I can't see the poll, but I think it was about 70%, 67%, I think, somewhere there went for Brisbane, so we got it right. Again, well done, folks. All right, the next game coming up, folks, in about 20-odd minutes' time, is North Melbourne taking on the Sydney Swans. That's at Marvel Stadium. Of course, it's not a bad evening here in Melbourne, 13 degrees. The roof will be closed, so it should be a great night for football action and football fans who go to the ground. Watch the game, watch their teams for another exciting match of AFL football here on this Saturday. Gotta love football. All right, folks, that's it for me. I'll say ciao for now. We'll see you in the next game.